I would love if the guy next to you just turned and looked, and you're like,
one of those.
You want?
milk's gone bad. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 107 of Press Any Key. You can find us on all social media at pressanykey.tv. Go ahead and like this video, leave a comment, share it with your friends. You could also find the audio version of this show on all the major podcast apps. With me, as always, is my co-hosts, Nick McFly, Mike Burke,
Hey.
and on the ones and twos, give it up for Hey Gingy, everybody.
Hey, Gingy.
Hey, Gingy.
Hi, friends.
Best jeans in the game.
All right, what? I heavily disagree with this take.
I meant genetics.
I also disagree with this.
Hey, my genetics aren't that bad.
You're a ginger, damn it.
My children will not be gingers. We got a lot to get to tonight, so we're just gonna get right into it. We're talking about John Wick 4, obviously, tonight, so you can skip to that part of the show if that's all you want to hear. Rooster Teeth debuted a new logo that is just wow.
It's a logo, all right.
There's a TMNT game in development. Also, Apple and Amazon plan to take their streaming movies to the theaters, which is what we've been hoping for. But starting off first, I played the Resident Evil 4 remake this weekend, and I have some things to say about it. And I have a podcast to say. No.
And I have a platform.
What am I
damn
going to
it.
look at while we talk about?
There is.
Just into his eyes.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, realistically, you could go over and you could just watch the stream that I did over the weekend. I'll pull that up, Nick, since I know that you desperately need something to look at. You know, you're like Subway Surfers.
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, exactly.
I need visual
No,
stimulation.
Gen Z. This
Can
is a
you-
Gen Z problem.
Can you do half of the screen as the Subway Surfer?
So this is just one of the earlier
Damn,
sections
it
of the
looks
game.
good.
No spoilers at all. Yeah, I love that fucking parry right there. So
Too bad you're getting murked.
basically this this absolutely invokes the spirit of the original game. Like, they have knocked this one out of the park. There is no two ways about it. I think there's some things that people that had to warm up to, like the merchant, for example. You know, it's just the lines aren't they look. It doesn't have that charm because it's not played for B movie tropes anymore.
The B movie.
Jazz?
First thing though that I gotta say is that the expansions that they made to the story and the plot overall is a net positive. I don't think they could have done any better. I did not know that the original game, the story was written in 3 weeks because there was 4 reboots of it while it was in
Jeez.
production.
I didn't know that either. My God.
Once they nailed the gameplay down, they were like, all right, let's just write this story in 3 weeks. And that's why it comes off very like,
It was written in 3 weeks.
yeah, but it's also not bad. Like, it services what it's trying to do. You know what I mean?
How do you feel about all of the like yellow paint? Because I'm seeing a lot of like left and right online.
I'm so tired of that because you know that they play tested the shit out of this, and one of the developers even came and said out, we left them blank and players didn't open them up. So like,
Yeah.
what, like they're there for a reason. You know what I
Really?
mean?
Oh.
Yeah.
That was not a thing in the original game.
No. It was just regular barrels, but it was one of those things where it was so obvious that it was a barrel that you had
Because
to
it was
break.
back for like GameCube, so it was not like a painted background.
Yeah, it's like
like
old
in
school
Scooby-Doo
animation.
when the
Yes,
door
yes,
is-
yeah, exactly. Which door is it gonna be?
Like, huh.
So gameplay though, although the gameplay and the controls are very loose. Like, remember how I said when I played the demo, it felt really loose. It wasn't as tight as I thought it would be. It actually is very focused and meaningful changes. Like, once you get into the groove of things, you know, there is no tension. Like, everything I felt and I played through, like, really came through naturally and organically. And I felt like they had really placed a lot of emphasis on making sure that it's not complementing or trying to emulate the original, but updated for modern standards. You know what I mean? Like that weapon wheel.
I was
never
going to
there
ask.
before.
Yeah, there's a lot of little quality of life improvements on that. How do you feel with the like complete change in combat system versus the old one where you were stationary and then had to like kind of tank aim and shoot?
Oh, were you move and shoot in this one?
I know you're used to playing more of the modern Resident Evil ones too, so like it's a little bit more similar in that
I mean,
way.
I've played all the original ones
But
too,
as in like you're more recently having played like RE6 and whatnot.
Believe it or not, wasn't too many times that I found myself moving and shooting. Actually, only like here and there. I have one note about movement that I think they overlooked overall, but we'll get to it. But like this is the merchant, and this is like the new way to
that's fine.
sell and buy stuff. You can actually take the gems that you find and put them in like the chalices that you find or the headdresses that you find, and you increase the value of them.
Oh, that's cool.
So this way you can sell them for more money. I also thought I knew what was going to be the final weapons of the game, so I dumped in all of my money into those. Turns out
there's
some new surprises that, like, some of them I was like, I'll get to this on New Game Plus because I want to finish the run with like my classic loadout. You know what I mean? And even then, I didn't stick to it because normally I take the Blacktail, the last handgun.
Yep.
But I went for the Red 9 in this one.
Really?
Which is the one that apparently most people like because it does the most damage per bullet. This is actually the
lake scene,
the lake monster fight.
Ooh. Captain Ahab.
And I mean, like, look how much better the UI is. Like with the
this was a mess in the original game.
It still is. But this is a lot smoother overall. You know. So much smoother. Oh, see, yeah. Wow. See, So overall, and plus, like, look at the scenery and everything, the graphics. That's another thing.
It's a little bit jank.
All right, everyone, technical difficulties.
Jesus Christ.
We're back.
Oh yeah, Liz, can you bring my headphones back down?
We're back. All right, so where did I leave off? Oh,
we have infinite harpoons.
That's right. We have infinite harpoons, but I just wanted to talk about the graphics and performance. I played this game full out, 4K native, no DLSS enabled, and streamed it on the same rig, and I was able to keep this at around 100 frames per second. That's pretty fucking impressive, and that's what the RE engine is known for, which is the engine that Capcom built specifically for their new line of Resident Evil games, is that it really is optimized for any rig, so you get great performance and great looking games no matter what system you're playing it on. They've also shifted their focus to PC development first, and then they port to the consoles because it's easier, to go down as opposed to go up. There has been some issues with the consoles too. Like, for whatever reason, PS5 has like blue flickering lights in the bottom right-hand corner.
Really?
Yeah, they had to. The solution was to turn off HDR. I turned off HDR when I was playing, mainly because I think that was more of my monitor. It was just too dark of scenes, and the
right.
You know what I mean? The nits were too high. But yeah, overall, this game looks incredible, and there's a plethora of graphic settings that you can change it to. Like, you can change it to have like for the Ganados to have more diverse body movements, or to save on performance. You can also turn off dismemberment. I kept dismemberment on, though.
Well, of course.
Why would you want to shut that off?
I know, exactly.
Blood particle effects, yeah. The water here does look a little
It does look
shitty.
kind of strange.
Because it looks like it's it looks like it's one. I know it's fluid. You're going to yell at me for saying it looks like it's a single fluid texture, but
it looks very gelatinous, if you will.
Gelatinous
is
a good word.
Let me see. I think this is the one. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
So this is one of the clips I clipped out while I was on stream. If you want to take a look real quick. Wait, why aren't you?
Real meta.
Oh, yeah.
Move it to the right or left.
Yeah. Oh, are we? What's
You
happening?
gotta minimize that first.
Oh, you're right. My bad. So if we move it up,
There you
check
go.
this one out. I'll just go ahead and... This is obviously the
is this the
classic
chainsaw kill?
Oh, dude, this is...
Uh-oh.
Look, they'll hold you in place and...
Oh, God.
I vividly remember hearing this like while I was watching TV in the other room, and I was like, "What is going on?"
I saw that like people criticized, like they were like, "Oh, it's not brutal enough." They didn't like in the old game they would just cut your head off, like
Yeah.
that would be the quick thing. And then I saw in this one someone like you can get held and a guy can just hatchet your head off in like 3 or 4 blunt blows.
Oh, yeah. So here's
I was like, that's way more brutal.
Here's a example of the gem inlaying. where like you can. So I picked up all these gems, and now I have this mask that I found. And if I want to increase the value, I can go ahead and I can slot them in there, and see it brings up the value of the
this
mask.
game's
to
got
sell.
everything.
Oh yeah, dude, you're a fucking jeweler.
Jewelry design.
I saw earlier in your inventory there was moonstones from Hogwarts Legacy.
Yep, there they are. I was breeding
pissing off that guy still.
I was breeding Thestrals as well. See, 3-color bonus.
That's a weird little mechanic, but that's fun.
Yeah. It's fun. It's good
You
stuff.
should be proud of all the jewelry you've made.
So
You criticized me when I hated him for those.
No, I did not. I was with you 100%.
There's some combat upgrades. So right here, like I capped this guy a couple times, right? And you run up on him and whata, right? Now but here's the knife finisher where you plunge a knife into their neck and you
Last
kill.
of Us is them.
Exactly.
They still say the like matalo.
Oh
and, like,
yeah,
all the
it's not the same though, because I was sitting here going, what's some of the things they say? It's all in fucking Spanish, so I'm gonna butcher it. But all the classic lines are there. It's just not. It just doesn't have that
what did you think was gonna
B
happen?
movie
like,
quality.
Hasta
You know what
la
I mean?
vista, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like that.
I didn't hear the classic. You know, I just didn't hear that.
Christ.
There you
Oh,
go.
there's the
Yeah, so there's a
Oh.
Las Plagas. So this is obviously after like when nighttime happens. So that is one thing I do want to comment on. I don't just want to watch this gameplay and then talk about it. But one of the things that they talk about specifically is, or that they talk about is how they wanted to change certain aspects and puzzles in the game, which I think all the puzzles that they changed are a good addition. But it's one of those things where I'm going through the same areas, but they changed the specifics of each of it. You know what I mean? Like the village. The village in the beginning looks identical to the village in the original game. However, there is something that happens later on that changes the way that you have to navigate that village. You know what I mean? I don't want to spoil it here.
It's a big boy.
You still go to the castle and you still go to all the rooms, but now those rooms are much bigger in scope, and it's more like instead of like a labyrinth in which you move through each of these like a hallway. You know how the first
made
game
it
is
less
very
linear, is
Yeah,
what you're like,
it's more
yeah.
like you go to areas and then you can explore them. And like if you keep following a certain direction, you're gonna hit the story beats. You know what I mean? There was also parts of the game where you pick up little blue tags and they are side missions for the merchant that you could turn in. So it's like,
Oh, that's fun.
Shoot all the rats in the dining room. Shoot the blue medallions hanging around. Hey, there's
Made
a
this
fucking
like a MMORPG basically.
There's before you leave the area, there's a knight in the basement that's been fucking people up for a couple months. Can you go deal with him? Or what was the other one? The regenerators, dude. They're back, and somehow, dude, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking, but they gave the regenerators a dumpy in this one. Like,
I did not in any world expect you to go there.
yeah, dude. Like, I saw that one of the regenerators turn around, and it was like, holy shit! Like, what happened to you?
They regenerated that cake, didn't they?
But like that's what they look like now, as opposed to what they looked like back in the day, which was, you know,
They were so much scarier back in the day, to
Yeah.
be honest. Like,
yeah. But now the thing is that like those spikes that they have,
Yeah.
they can shoot them out of their body at you, as opposed to dragging you in. They can purposefully get on the floor now and slither around and then bite you in the neck. They also, if you get one of these big motherfuckers, right, like this turns into this. So if I kill all the fucking parasites inside of it, it can regenerate into this thing, and I got to get it right in the mouth. You know what that mouth do to to kill it? You know what I mean? So, like I said, gameplay is great. I love the expansion on the story. I don't want to spoil anything, but they gave a lot of characters a lot of good backstories. They tied some characters together, which I feel like they just didn't have time to do in the first one, because they were, you know, like I
3
said,
weeks.
3 weeks is all they had.
how was the Donkey Kong minecart section?
Oh, dude, that was so much better than the original. Like, so much better.
How many bananas did you collect?
Did you get all the donkey? Spell it out. Did you guys not play Donkey
Letters,
Kong?
the
Yeah.
letters. Yeah. Dude, Donkey Kong Country is like one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, bro.
Good.
All right.
Which Kong is your favorite?
Cranky Kong.
Okay.
He's
That
the
makes-
original one,
He's the OG.
canonically, right? And then Donkey Kong 64 is the new one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's how it works. So the new weapons I think are great additions as well. They got rid of that shitty mine thrower for something else, a crossbow that shoots explosive
explodes,
bolts.
yeah.
The parry is great. I showed you guys an example of the parry. Because there are some you can just block with that, or you can actually, if you get a perfect parry, you stagger them and you can kick them right in the face. The running and shooting, didn't use it too much, but it is cool. As a matter of fact, because I'm so accustomed to the OG, I forgot it was even there. Like I would just stand there and it'd be like, why am I getting hit?
That's kind of cool that like it also like lends itself to being able to be played like the original in that way. Like you said, you didn't necessarily like run and gun it, but they punished you slightly, so it was kind of like you can do this if you want, but we're gonna like push you towards the new one too.
So the only thing I feel like they could have added, which after the sales and the reviews of this one, RE5 remake is coming, and boy, do they got some shit to change in that one.
Oof. Yeah,
are you
totally.
You're not familiar with that
Yeah,
at
you
all?
tell him, Nick.
Yeah.
What specifically
What
do you
specifically
know?
do
Probably the character design is probably the biggest thing that they're going to change.
He's like, there's too little evil.
Yeah.
Too many
They're gonna
residents,
put-
too little
They're going
evil.
to put spikes in all the enemies.
and give them
They're
dumpies.
going to slither around with the big dumpies.
Feel like
It's not the Incredibles,
it's
Nick.
these guys that they're gonna have to get rid of.
Oh, yeah,
no.
that's not great.
That was the biggest complaint, is that like apparently so canonically when these guys got infected with the Ouroboros,
Do
I
you
believe they're
wanna
calling.
drag that up to the laptop screen?
That's
It
up
is.
Mm-mm.
Yes, it is.
Oh, more technical
Oh.
difficulties.
I just see press any. Can't just see your desktop.
Oh, boy.
There's a problem with the capture card, I think.
You probably need a new one at this point. Not to talk about this on.
Yeah, whatever. I'll cut it out. But either way, like right here, racism in AAA games. Right here, here's your prime example.
Yeah,
These
it's
three
really not
fucking guys.
great.
And canonically, these guys got infected with Ouroboros and went back to their primitive state. And
Oh, God.
No,
it's-
it's not. It's not good.
It's not great. Like there is a prominent African character, and the guys who are infected with Ouroboros who are living in like the towns and villages. That's one thing. You know what I mean? That's the setting that it's in. So, but these guys up here,
yeah, they didn't. They
not
didn't
great.
do this well.
Not a great.
What year did this come out?
2009, I think.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Much after it should have.
Yeah, like this was long overdue.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, since they are definitely remaking that, and because now what they're doing is remake original mainline title. So the next one we're gonna get is
Same
9.
studio or?
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
They are the same. They are publishers and developers. They're all in
I was
house.
like, what it was Call of Duty where they kind of round robin.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's every
studios.
odd year, basically.
Yeah.
But these games also aren't necessarily too long. And that's the point, is you're supposed to replay them over and over again and upgrade your character and use different builds and play with different costumes and everything.
And play the difficulties. Like the builds aren't necessarily super different. Like it's between like, pistol, shotgun, sniper almost like, but it is a lot of fun to be like, okay, like I did it. Now let me go do it harder.
Yeah.
Like it is a true New Game Plus.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It kind of pretty much it penned the status of New Game Plus, what it means to be New Game Plus,
Right. Not just like go through and find content you missed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're starting with all your weapons and upgrades from the beginning again. Now go run through it and see if you can beat your time on the last one.
Gotcha.
The only thing, like I said, I think they can improve on, that I think they should put in the 5 and 6 remake, is a dodge roll. There is no dodge roll.
You're just too dark sold out, my guy.
And we need a dodge roll. I'm sorry.
Skill issue.
I'm sorry. We need a dodge roll, because there was quite a lot of times where I would parry an attack, and these guys aren't like the old school, like they take one swipe and then they back
This
up.
ain't your
for a bit.
father's bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. This is like they keep fucking swinging. Like there is no safety in this game. You got to keep moving.
Do you think you just wanted a dodge roll because you're like used to that kind of like but seriously,
No.
used to that mechanic? Do you think it will take away from the game to add a dodge roll?
I think if you're already adding a parry, a block, and move while shooting to Resident Evil, throw a fucking dodge roll in,
It's like in for a
because
penny.
there is a dodge roll in the Resident Evil 3 remake, but it's kind of hit and miss. It's like if you get a dodge, like there is a dodge roll, and you can dodge roll out of the way. there was a dodge roll in the original Resident Evil 3 that came out in like 1998 or whatever on the PlayStation 1. So it's one of those things where it's like they got to do it right, because the RE3 remake I don't think did it necessarily right. You know what I mean? The dodge roll felt more like a gamble. Like, am I gonna dodge as opposed to
Where are my iframes?
Yeah, exactly.
How is, and last quick question on that, how
Yeah.
is the environment, would it lend itself to like a dodge roll? Because like
For
basically
sure.
like it's, if I remember the original, like it's not so much of a
There's
plot.
broken glass all over
Yeah,
the
like
floor.
do you want to just be dodging into broken glass and splintered? No, like as in the original, I don't remember being too much of a platformer.
Yeah,
And
it's not
I
necessarily a
associate-
platformer.
Yeah, I associate a lot of like dodge rolling in a way with platforming.
But I mean, like, this is your
Can you see this?
What happened was
see how it's like
unforgivable.
it's like you're supposed to be having this fight with, you know, your old this is not a spoiler, by the way, everybody knows this fight's in the game. Although you are what's it called, it's supposed to be this high octane battle, and I just feel like since there's this lack of a dodge roll, you don't really have a chance to really get out of the way unless you parry or block the attack, you know what I mean?
Unless you're good,
Yeah.
then you're not, then you're gonna get hit is what you're saying.
Yeah.
What was that? Break free, come on. Ugh.
Oh, this guy's using the striker. I didn't even use a striker once this run through. I went for
Is
the
that all
rock.
blood all over him?
Oh yeah,
He's, Pat, you said last week or whatever, you were like, I didn't realize he, you know, had
he's
some-
enhanced. Yeah, he's enhanced.
and then
He's
you're just
infected.
sitting here blasting him with a shotgun, and you're
Yeah.
like, why isn't he dying?
Yeah, you
yet?
know. So either way, though, only thing I can say is add a dodge roll. That is my only I'll use the word suggestion, because I don't even think it's really a complaint. It doesn't
Right.
really take away from the gameplay. I think it would just add
It's
to
a
it.
want, not a need.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the reviews are right. 10 out of 10 for sure. Like, because it invokes the spirit of the original, and it is now, I believe it's now the definitive version, like, to play the game. If somebody was like, should I play the original Resident Evil 4? I'd be like, play the remake first, then go back to the original, because you'll see.
It'll be on hard mode.
Yeah,
like-
yeah, it'll be pretty much Resident Evil on hard mode. Sick. We just love technical mishaps on this show.
Everything's fine. We just needed a pee break.
Yeah. Right into my mouth. Anyway,
All
so,
right.
we're talking about Apple and Amazon, right? Everyone's
They're gonna
favorite
have a
company.
baby.
They are. It's true.
Apple's on.
Disgusting. Anyway, so reportedly, Apple is planning to invest $1 billion per year to make films that play exclusively in cinemas.
That's just one season of The Lord of the Rings.
The news, which was first reported by Bloomberg, comes months after Amazon's similar commitment to putting 12 to 15 movies in theaters annually. So remember what I said about what's going to save the streaming business?
The movie
Live
The
theater.
movie
movies,
theaters. And guess what they're doing? Because I'm telling you, they put that Knives Out movie in theaters for like a week, and it made like close to $400 million.
And they didn't change their mind and say, let's keep it out there for a couple
Exactly,
weeks.
exactly. And
Like,
that's
oh,
why
shit, we should have put this out before.
that's why development on the third film hasn't started yet, because Rian Johnson is pushing for more a bigger theatrical window on his next
Can
one.
we put it in the theaters, please?
Round-headed fuck. Anyway, so Eric Wold, a media and entertainment industry analyst, said having multiple large streaming platforms decide they need theaters shows there is value in theatrical, which was the biggest concern up until recently, you know, because everyone was like, are we ever going back to movie theaters again? Ooh, the pandemic.
How much is each seat going to cost?
I think that's so dumb. Like, of course, like you don't have a screen that is 40 feet and a Dolby 5.1 Atmos in your home.
They do actually go into that a bit. So Apple and Amazon.
Do you really think the average person really wants to go to the movies as much as us?
I think for like you go to the movies for the movie experience. Obviously, you
that's
go
the
to
thing.
see it
But I
on
think-
the big screen.
I think most people would be perfectly fine just watching everything at home, like on a screen like this with
The
a
big
really
screen.
good,
But
with
that's-
like a really good sound system. You can. I'm not saying it's the same.
Yeah, it's the
but I think
experience,
the
though.
average consumer can, in modern day America, you can get an enormous TV and surround sound in your living room,
but that requires work to
But
set up and
also
money to
the other
pay.
thing is that
and then never have to buy tickets
There's
ever
film
again.
There's film bros like us that chirp on the internet about movies that we like and don't like and all that stuff. But there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that go to the movies just as regularly as we do and don't talk about it on the internet.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
there's
feel-
not 400 million podcasts out there.
Yeah.
Every time I take any one of my friends to the movies, when we're I have to go see this for the podcast. You want to come? And they're always like, I can't remember the last time I went to the movies.
Dude, those people
So
suck.
many of my
No.
friends.
We might talk about this later, but based on us trying to get movie tickets yesterday,
This was the
Yo.
first time I've
It was a
struggled to get
problem.
movie
Yeah.
tickets in a long
Yeah.
time.
I was like aisle second row.
Yeah.
Like,
And
dude,
it-
John
preferred
Wick
seating,
at 11
all
o'clock
bought
at
out.
night. There's plenty of seats left.
All right, so Apple and Amazon, the move is not exactly a benevolent bid to help out movie theaters.
You don't say.
It's a way to promote their respective streaming services in the long run. Ideally, the more attention that a movie gets on the big screen, the more people will want to see it elsewhere once it's available online, which is absolutely true
Sure.
because nobody went and saw Puss in Boots when it came out, but people who did see it were like, this movie's fucking great. It was on Amazon Prime. She was out. I was like, I'm going to watch Puss in Boots. And guess what? That movie was fucking awesome.
it also makes movies like the Batman like palatable to watch again.
Yeah, rather
Yeah.
than like, well, that's the thing that always gets me is, like the industry always had windowing, where you would have, this release, that release, like, oh, you can't see it in theaters, but then
Disney
you'll get it on
Vault.
digital,
Yeah.
and then it'll be on home release. This is their way to bring that back. Streaming is the new secondary window.
Monthly subscriptions to Apple TV Plus or Prime Video it's the key here. Is like you got all the buzz in the theaters, and maybe it didn't make hundreds of millions of dollars right out the gate, but you made a little bit of money. Now it's going to Amazon Prime, and somebody who doesn't have a subscription will now sign up for it. I don't know a single person who shops daily that doesn't have Amazon Prime, but you get my point.
Right.
Um,
I don't know anybody that's Apple TV Plus though.
well, all right, I'll be completely honest. I was trying to win the war of what new streaming device should we get, and what won them over is I was like, they're only showing Charlie Brown Christmas or whatever, or the big. It's only available on Apple TV, so I bought it, and we bought the Apple TV, we set it all up and everything, and then I see it on the Fire Stick, and that's when I was like, yo. They named the service and the device the same fucking. I was had
You got
by
had,
Apple.
To be fair, I love my Apple
Charlie
TV.
Brown.
I love
Apple-
Charlie Brown.
Apple TV
It's the best.
Is
like,
the best streaming.
peripheral
Yeah, there's no better streaming stick out
device.
there.
I usually would agree. My old apartment, my roommate had Apple TV, and I liked it. I didn't love it, but then I went and stayed at Erin's place up in Boston, and her smart TV was the most seamless experience. The remote control had, it wasn't too many buttons, but it also wasn't like overwhelming, or what wasn't like. I think the Apple TV, similar that the Apple TV controller. It's too streamlined to me.
No,
That's all I need.
Being able to charge your remote, total game changer. Because I'm like, oh crap, it's acting really slow. Let me just plug it on into my phone charger.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's great. The one weird thing is, so I have the Apple TV subscription. Like I pay for that. The
Nerd.
I also have Apple TV.
Nerd.
I'm sorry. Have you watched Ted Lasso and Shrinking? Because those are two amazing.
And Severance is great.
Okay, my mom is watching that. I think.
The Problem with Jon Stewart.
But
A lot of good television.
if I am logged into his account, it's like sign up for Apple TV, and I'm like, oh, I have to go in and change the account on the TV, but not for any other apps.
Yeah, that's also
know how to
the
get
fact
you.
that you have to have an Apple ID for that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that.
But you have to have an Amazon account to do Amazon Video. Like you have to have any account to do any of those.
I suppose, but
My thoughts on Jared from Subway.
All right. Anyway, sorry, just to recenter us.
Sorry.
that's true. All right, fair
It
enough.
also helps lure top talent who don't want to focus their labors of love and then get lost in the shuffle of streaming, because that does happen. That movie, what is it? God, it's Ben Affleck, Pedro Pascal, Oscar Isaac, Charlie Hunnam. It's that big action movie on Netflix that actually is
Never
very
heard of
good.
it.
Exactly, because it's lost under a mountain of content. But if it had a proper marketing push and went to theaters, it's like
it's
it would have
lost
been
under Is It Cake?
yeah.
yeah, honestly.
It would have been the same as something like God, what's that? Air. Air is the new Ben Affleck movie that just came out. He wrote and directed it with Matt
with the
Damon.
Jordans.
And people won't shut the fuck up about
Is it
how
really
good
called
it is.
Air?
Yes, it is.
About Air Jordan
About Air Jordan, yeah.
shoes.
I mean, no, I get that, but when you said Air, I had no idea what you're talking about. But it,
You breathe it, Nick.
yeah,
Come on.
that's a bad name.
Okay, so also the advantage of streamers,
It's called Jordan.
the advantage of streamers to put movies in theaters is there's obviously incremental revenue. We've already talked about that with the Knives Out thing. But also there's an inherent risk to all of this too. People have way more access to information these days. That's why the government is trying to shut down TikTok. And audiences are way pickier than they used to be. You cannot go to a movie theater to see a rom-com that scored a 25% on Rotten Tomatoes and have that motherfucker haul in 150 million. That just does not exist anymore.
Dude, my favorite thing I saw was a tweet that was, the new Jennifer Lawrence movie coming out?
Yeah.
Where? Do you know it?
Nope.
It looks like an old school.
It looks like a Judd Apatow, 2010. Like she's basically like down on her luck, needs money.
She's a piece of shit.
She's a piece of shit.
She got
Needs
slick back hair.
Yeah, needs money, and then basically strikes this deal to date someone's son who's 18, and it's just basically she's gonna fuck him. But that's the whole in the trailer they're like, do you mean date or do you mean date? And they're like, date.
Yeah.
So
But
it's Silver Linings Playbook without the football and dancing.
And the mental illnesses. But,
Yeah, but it will.
But wait, sorry,
go ahead,
super
go
quick.
ahead, go ahead.
But I saw a thing and I was like, oh shit, we're really in a recession if they're making movies like this.
Yeah,
again.
and that's the thing is that but I mean, I saw a lot of genuine reactions to that trailer being like, yo, what's it called? The turbo virgin fucks the hot cheerleader. This is the movie that we've been missing for the last 15 years.
Seriously.
Because they don't make comedies like that anymore. We talked about Cocaine Bear for all that movie's faults. They don't make movies like that anymore because, the whole thing was that, I mean, Todd Phillips said it himself, he literally wrote and directed all those Hangover movies. And granted, one of them was good, but he even said himself that he doesn't want to do comedy movies anymore. He'll focus on just more serious stuff like the 2 Joker films because studios won't back comedies anymore because they're afraid of offending people. But guess what? The bottom line has changed now. Oh fuck, we'll put anything out there to get people in.
You know the YouTube channel Nerd Writer?
Okay.
They just released a video on how the scary movies and all of their copycats crashed comedies and satires in the 2000s. Really interesting, but also I learned that Craig Mazin took over the Scary Movie franchise, and that's mind-blowing to me.
Which is weird because at the time I didn't know that he wrote and directed Superhero Movie, and I remember walking out of that movie going, "That's the best one of those movies, no matter how shitty it was."
Yeah.
But what other risks are they?
So the other
concerned
thing
about?
is that it's just too easy these days to release disposable content with YouTube, Twitch, with all the other streamers. And Amazon and Apple don't have a reputation for creating compelling content like Netflix does, like HBO does, And that's the thing is that
not HBO, not for long.
well, what's coming from HBO?
Max. And it's all Discovery content.
Yeah.
So they need to produce good movies and market them effectively to cut through the noise to get people to show up.
I've made this proposal on the show before, but here's what I'm going to say. We live in an age where you have access to unlimited content, as we just said, and it used to be you used to watch things. The reason things like the Oscars you used to watch that was a thing that was on cable at the time. And that's why everybody watched it. There's not that thing anymore. So I think it'd be interesting bringing the whole streaming back to the cable model. Is if you log into Netflix, you can still watch anything on demand, but there's always something playing. Like as soon as you log in, you can watch maybe like a handful.
Shutter does this.
Shutter does that. That would be the way to do it. You put your flagship movie at the moment. Just have it playing all the time, and you can.
I know.
I don't know what to watch.
You guys
Let me watch this.
You guys didn't come to the Halloween party, but what we did
I'm
was
sorry. I'm
we
really
took.
sorry about that.
We took. Like I'm not broken up over you guys not coming to my parties. Okay.
I still got your plate in the fridge. But
It's moldy. But we took this TV outside and we plugged in a streaming stick and we brought up Shudder, and instead of looking for something to put on since it was Halloween, they had nothing but
like a marathon.
the Halloween movies marathoning. So we just put that on, and then we had literally like, as soon as people started showing up, the first Halloween started, and it was perfect because it was like, a conversation starter. We got to crack jokes. We had it out by the fire and everything. Like, I got really drunk, and I kept telling people how much I love this movie, to the point where Danny was also hammered. He's like, you like this movie? You know what I mean? Like, it's good for, quality time with friends. And then they put on a shitty sequel, and we got the shit all over that.
Then you got the Season of the Witch, and you were like, what the fuck?
Exactly. It wasn't like we had to sit there and siphon through stuff to find content.
I'd be like, I don't want to watch that. It's just, it kind of comes on. Like, there is a spontaneity about it.
And all through the rest of October, I had that Shudder live stream on, and whatever they had playing, I was like, ooh, I haven't seen this version of Children of the Corn,
I'm also fine. If they are gonna release some like bloat content to the movies, we need bloat content at the movies. Like, we just need some. Like, I feel like everything at the movies right now is
Pull up
so
the Amazon app.
like, just like the weight. There's so much weight. It's like, I need shitty movies, and I need movies that are only gonna make like $25 million. And like you said, walk in and be like, all right, that was absolute
like
hell.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, exactly.
So here's the other big question about that this article poses, is that, will Netflix follow suit? I am putting all of my money on that. I would go all in on that.
If they don't, they deserve to lose their spot on top of the hill.
Yep.
Because the thing is, like, this is industry leading, right? That's how these industries work. Is that if your competitors are doing this and they're making money hand over fist,
they're the leaders now.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to get on top of that as well. Believe it or not, I kind of think Disney actually still is like coming out on top here, because Disney has consistently been like, if we're putting a movie out that's brand new on our streaming service, you're paying $30 to $40 up front to watch it, which worked in the pandemic.
Not into that model, but
yeah.
As a consumer,
yes,
not
I'm just
into
saying.
it.
And then we did. Well, I mean, I paid $30 for Jungle Cruise, and 5 of you watched it. And nobody had to go to the movies.
Well, if I'm gonna
allegedly, we all watched it.
Yeah, I paid. If I'm paying that much, I want the theater experience. I don't want to watch it at home.
Well, that was the other thing too. Is that so? The last thing that this article finishes with is just that going to the movies is an active experience compared to the passive experience of watching something at home. When you go to the movies, you are making the choice to go out of your house, pick a show time, get snacks, find your seats. Those experiences
with other human beings
create great memories.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, even last night in John Wick, people were cheering, people were laughing. This motherfucker behind me was kicking my seat. It got to the point where I was slamming my seat back into his knees, like, because he kept kicking my seat. They spoke a different language, so I didn't want to start any problems.
Like,
but
why do my knees hurt so bad?
That was an international incident.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't want to get up and, like, you know what I mean? But I was very close to being like, is this the first time I'm going to, first time in years?
You just look over you do the, like.
I did that once.
You throw some popcorn over your head.
You know?
Well,
Yeah. Relax.
That's too much.
Don't do any air
Pull it
strikes
back.
or anything.
I'll dial it back. I'm not Obama.
Okay, we got presidential administrations for that, all right? All
That's why
right.
you had to leave Roku City.
But listen, I'm glad this is
refugee.
happening. I'm glad this is happening because I'm a person that would rather watch something in the theater for the first time than watch it on the screen. As a matter of fact, watch it at home. As a matter of fact, I feel like that's why I had a lukewarm response to Godzilla vs. Kong the first time I watched it, because I watched it at home when, they did all that.
That's
put
why
it right on TV.
You think you had a bad response to
Well,
that?
I mean, that movie did really well critically with audiences and commercially. It was the only movie
commercially.
It was the only movie in the pandemic that was like,
Does the commercial box office include the Asian market?
no, it made like
You're
$600
talking about
million.
US.
Well, I mean, it was more than just the U.S., but
Yeah, but I'm saying a Godzilla movie
You're
is
specific-
fucking amazing
You're-
in the Asian market.
if you're specifically asking me about China, I don't think so. But everywhere else in the world, like, that movie made $600 million, and that was the first movie that people said, like, all right, we're back. The movies are back, and people loved it.
that movie blew.
The sequel comes out next year, so let's see how much people really love it,
When you have options to do other things.
Yeah. So, TMNT video game. Nick, you're a big Ninja Turtles fan.
Nope.
Are you
Yes,
real?
you are.
Oh.
Oh, God damn it.
Never
Called
seen the
him
show.
Let
Let me gaslight him.
Yeah.
I actually
I
was
like
a really
Turtles.
big Ninja Turtles fan growing up.
You got Michelangelo, Donatello, Raphael,
And Pizza Man.
and Pizza Rat.
Pizza Rat. Yep, that's his name. So we don't have any. They have not revealed the name of the developer yet, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin graphic novel is being made into a big action RPG in the style of God of War, which I think is fucking wonderful because I think we're well overdue for a proper TMNT game.
I hope Jeremy.
It's like
Renner's
we're well overdue for a giant turtle game.
Yeah. Well, the rumor was that Rocksteady was doing it after Batman. They were
Yeah.
going to do like an open world. You can change between all four of them. It was all this whole, fake leaks and everything.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, that is not what we're
Does this
getting
go
here.
hand in hand with the new TV show, the new Ninja Turtles TV show?
Oh, he says he's not a big fan. He knows about the
Hey,
TV show.
yeah,
Huh?
the one that
I know
Seth
some- I know
Rogen's
some
doing
things.
that has like that crazy cast of people.
Yeah,
Velma.
there's children.
What?
Aren't there? They're like legit children voice actors.
No. There's legit like
Turtles.
Hollywood A-list actors.
Pull it up.
playing,
Pull it up. The one I saw, like there was a bunch of kids voicing the turtles.
It's
We
like,
need like a fuck them kids drop.
Man,
we
fuck
do
them
need-
kids.
it's really just gonna look like. I think it's gonna look like a game that has
These
been
legit
modded.
Hollywood actors.
Like how when you're just playing like anything and like Shrek's in it.
Okay,
I feel
well, here
this
you
game
go.
will look like
Yes,
that just
yes.
based off of your character.
Seth Rogen, Jackie Chan, Paul Rudd, Rose Byrne, Giancarlo Esposito, John Cena,
Oh,
Ice
shit.
Cube, Maya Rudolph,
And none of these
Hannibal Buress.
None of these people are playing
Post
any of
Malone.
the titular turtles.
Yes, none of
They're all just on a TV in the background of the show.
So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad that we're getting
Malone. Who's
I'm-
he gonna play?
I'm glad that
Shredder.
we're. Wait, no, it said who he's playing. He is playing
Shredder.
Ray Fillet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
he that
this
big
is an
rhino dude?
adaptation of the
No.
2020 graphic novel that tells a grim story of grim futuristic story about the turtles. The Last Ronin video game adaptation will be darker and more mature. Take that's not typical of colorful, fantastic Teenage Mutant Ninja
But
Turtles.
more akin to the original comics, right?
I don't think the original comics were ever super dark.
Yeah, they were. The original comics
Rachelite.
were a common they were satire and they were, black
Social
and white,
commentary.
more gritty and
Really?
Yeah. I guess I am the biggest
Okay.
turtle fan here, I suppose.
I went to a turtle exhibit, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle exhibit.
Oh yeah,
when I was
what'd you
younger.
learn there?
And I also stole a little gun for one of the guys that I bought at a garage sale, and I didn't tell my dad that I took the gun out of the box and put it in the guy's handle, and then I got talked to.
Oh, did you have to bring it back and apologize?
Absolutely not. It was like 10 cents.
So your
but-
dad, he's like he wants to teach you to do the right thing, but he knows the value. Like that, you got to keep the.
We're a
gun.
very efficient family.
Yeah.
So, obviously they're keeping everything under wraps. Paramount has not released who the developer is yet. While there is other TMNT games like Shredder's Revenge, I believe, came out last year that was very well received. It's kind of like
So it's like a like a side scroller beat 'em up.
like Battletoads.
Yeah.
Like good Battletoads.
It is. Yeah. Well, it's like there was that main it's an arcade game basically.
Yeah. The Last Ronin will primarily be a single game, a single character game, and although they poised
Well, he's
that
the
there
last
could
one.
be playable characters in flashback sequences, which would be cool, like to go back to like I don't know 1990s New York at some point and like play through
Get
a sec.
stop and frisk.
Yeah, exactly. Get the old pat down.
It's like you green
From the-
bastard.
yeah. Similar to how the comic played out, though, the primary action is said to center on only the one surviving turtle. So the whole arc of the story is, it's a mystery who the turtle is. He wears a black mask, but he fought. What's up?
What weapon does
has,
he use?
Yeah, he has two katanas.
Well,
Who
that's
do you
the thing.
think he is?
Well, that's
Like,
the thing. This particular turtle in the story, he used the nunchucks, he used the bow staff, he used the dual katanas and the sai. But that's
But what is his character art?
But in the final pages of the comic, it is revealed that it's Michelangelo. And for whatever the remaining turtles in Master Splinter have all been exterminated by the Foot Clan, leading
They were
to
stomped out. by the
leading
Foot
to
Clan.
leading for Mikey to seek justice for their deaths in a battle-ravaged New York City.
Who is your favorite?
I like Leonardo.
Okay.
That's it.
Do you guys remember when me and all the rest of the guys were the little kid Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? We'd buy the little kid costumes and then just rip through them.
Oh yeah.
I have a picture of that. Do you want to bring it up?
We'll add it in post.
Yeah. So yeah, I like how they're targeting this for a more mature audience. The only thing is that I don't know if it's gonna be like M. You know what I mean? Because it could still be a T game and
Right.
still be for a more mature audience.
Yeah.
But if there's
Like,
any
ride that
blood,
line.
yeah, if there's any blood at all, which the comic book is full of bloody scenes, then anything. Even if you have a drop of blood in video games, it's rated M now. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. It's been like that for a while.
I feel like they could do it how, like Spider-Man does a lot of their like
Yeah.
games, and in that kind of fashion, comic booky violence, that they could probably get away with a T.
Yeah, what rating does the Spider-Man game have?
T.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, but I want to dismember
Easy.
people with a sword.
It's okay. There'll be mods. There's always mods.
There's always mods.
You can run
to the
around
car,
as
too.
Dobby with a gun, you know?
Dobby with a gun.
But yeah, they said that The Last Ronin is an ambitious AAA title, and you can expect more details on it in the coming months and years because they're still a few years away. But like I said, I'm not a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Obviously,
am.
yeah, you are. Obviously, I like the show as a kid, but I'm glad that it's one of those things where it's like there's a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds who have fond memories of this property and are gamers now. Let's try and make something for them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
we don't have enough.
No.
We don't have.
I don't have nearly
nobody really
enough.
cares about us.
We don't. It's true. I mean, we do have the new Rooster Teeth logo, though, Nick, if you want
And
to.
see,
But
that's exactly
no,
what
they
I'm
gave us
saying.
too much. Too much.
How's that make you feel, Nick?
They giveth and they can take it away.
You know, Nick, I will give it to you on this screen. It looks very red.
Looks very red.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did pull it up. I
I know you did the color picker.
Yeah, and I was like, "Fuck, this is orange." Yeah, Rooster Teeth's 20th anniversary. They got new branding, and boy, does it blow!
And they have a new menu where you can get your chicken delivered now.
So, this is. They said.
Do you have
They
it up on the
said-
screen?
I do.
Yep.
That's
All
unfortunate.
right, let's take a break. So yeah, the new branding is not good.
Looks
Well,
like
Nick,
it looks
according. No,
like
go ahead.
I was
No,
gonna
no,
say
no.
it looks like if Texas seceded from the union and then decided to have like be endorsed by a KFC like
Yeah.
fast
Um,
food chain.
So I think what's kind of hilarious is that Gorilla Suit, who is the Austin-based creative agency that created this new branding for them, described this as, quote, dynamic, playful, and unconventional. And boy, that last one really sells it, huh? Because this straight up looks like fucking chicken fry advertisements.
I'll give
Like-
them dynamic. I'll let
Will
them
you?
have that one.
What's
you know?
what's dynamic?
Like, I'm rolling up to Burger King and I'm placing
you
an
know
order
what?
for chicken fries with
Playful was the one I meant to call
Okay,
out.
okay.
Dynamic just came out of my mouth.
playful is sure.
Yeah, you know what? If you got rid of the Rooster Teeth side of this, I think I would just think this is like the new Popeyes logo.
Yeah.
this. Yeah. Actually, now that we're talking about it,
I do love that chicken from Popeyes. Oh, you're trying to see what like do they have a chicken fries logo?
yes, they do.
That's it.
There it is. There it is.
It's
Yeah, I mean, not really
corporate wants
anything
you to
like
identify.
There's no there's
it.
no
Fuck, I
difference.
didn't even see him down there.
Dude, right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. Holy
Little
shit.
chicken man. Well, our one doesn't have a beak that's discernibly different. It's the R part of it, the little leg. So you know it's okay.
To me, it's interesting that they dropped the teeth part of it. And just the combination of colors. It's okay to have the blue and the red, but to layer the blue and red is just
It's
hurts
a weird.
your eyes.
It looks like a sports kind of team. It's like that kind of you know like weirdness of contrast and
I'll
colors.
tell you what would probably help a black stroke around all this fucking text.
Stroke doesn't solve everything.
I'll tell you what.
At the core of the strategy, it's making people realize Rooster Teeth is a digital media company that brings together all of those different interests of our creators.
Cut to your own camera
With,
right now.
with comedy being the backbone of it. I'm sorry, this does not say anything
Doesn't
funny.
say that.
I get the like banality of digital media from it.
Yeah, that and like the modern stripping down and minimalism. That's what I'm getting from it. That's
Or-
not a good thing.
Do you know what I'm getting from it? That woman on TikTok who redid like Microsoft
Yeah.
and Apple's like things where she like basically she was like, I'm rebranding all of these logos, and they she purposely made them bad.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
it got these brands so big on TikTok that they were actually using it as like their
What?
TikTok photos and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's what this looks like. I can see her being like, you see how it says Rooster Teeth? That spells out what the brand is. And I did the blue on the red or orange, whatever color we're calling this, because it pops. Like I
Yeah.
can see
Make
her
it pop.
explaining why this is a good logo when it's
look at
obviously bad.
look at the spacing on the
I know.
S and the H. Think about when you're gonna shrink that down. That is
Dude,
not gonna scale.
I'm 5
well
feet
at all.
away from this, and it doesn't scale
Yeah.
well.
The H looks like just a solid square.
Yeah.
Honestly, if it was just the thing on the left, I'd be fine.
Right.
It's a little weird, but I get it. I'd understand.
Yeah, you don't need how
Well, they have
it
their,
is.
like the icon and the word mark, so you do need both parts of it. But yeah, it's just very, like you said, banal. So
I had Batman and Superman comics as a kid, and that's what inspired this. Apparently,
This
I
looks
made a
like Coke and
superhero
Pepsi.
chicken.
superhero chicken.
I was really a big fan of the chicken fries from Burger King, and I lost over 100 pounds, but I still wanted to keep that spirit here, and that's what I did.
That color combo does look like Pepsi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's the three primary colors,
Yeah,
right?
that's like I'm not gonna,
It looks like
the colors.
America, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This really screams patriotism. Okay.
Well, they are from
Patriotism.
Texas,
Okay.
so
That's-
they are a Texas-based company.
Yeah, this sucks. This is not good. I don't know. What was the old logo? Was
It was
just literally the
generic, like
and the-
a,
and the-
a rooster and a pair of like chattering teeth.
teeth. Let's see. Yeah,
Which I mean,
there
it was ass too, but
It was
like
bad, but at least it said something about the company.
that.
I
No,
don't-
right there. That's good.
no, I mean it looks like a bad comedy club from like the 90s.
That's the thing is
I
like
hate
these
all
guys
of
started
this.
as just a bunch of friends
Which-
playing video games together, and that's what that says. It's like a bunch of guys goofing around.
Yeah, it looks like an Xbox profile tag
Yeah,
from like
yep.
Xbox 360.
Do you remember what their original name was before Rooster Teeth?
No, I have no idea.
I think they changed it because they like when they started getting bigger, they were like, we need something that is at least a little bit more
Was it Cockmouth?
presentable. Cockmouth, yeah, that's what it was.
What's Rooster Teeth's original name? Was Drunk Gamers?
Drunk Gamers, yeah. It's almost kind of like nerd shit, where it's just like,
Don't even fucking bring that up.
I'm sorry.
Don't you have
I'm
that
sorry.
hung up somewhere?
It's in here. That's what I was saying. You were like, oh, just friends that played video games
It's
together.
in
and
the
I'm like,
closet, like
Yeah.
the rest of my
And our
deep,
logo is a roll
dark
of toilet paper.
secrets.
My skeletons.
That was-
Liz-
okay, hold on.
Liz
Stop,
is in the
stop,
closet
stop,
right now.
Stop. That was you who made that logo.
Yeah, I know. I know.
You
That's-
did
it's
that.
in the closet
You
now.
did that.
Well, to be fair, that is, I think, a better logo than the Rooster Teeth.
Oh, I was about to
Yeah.
throw hands. You're like, then your current
You, like,
logo.
really
Let's
leaned
not- let's
in.
not-
To me,
I was like, you're on this
I
show and
love
you're
that.
bad mouthing the
I
logo.
love that logo because I did the animation where it like unfurls. I'm like, that's one of my favorite things that I've done in After Effects.
Came in hot, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Liz. I would agree. We're due for a redesign. You're right. Good. I'm glad you brought it
Look
up.
what you've done, Liz.
Yeah, you open Pandora's box.
All right, let's move on to the
Yeah.
main topic.
So, main topic tonight, or today, whenever you're listening to this, is John Wick 4, everybody. Big fours all around for this episode.
What else is it for?
Resident Evil 4 remake.
The 4 Ninja
The
Turtles.
4 of us in this room. The 4 times we've had to stop the fucking camera to fix
Like
the
that.
capture card.
The
Fucking
4 is in the room
23
with us
Jim
right
Carrey
now.
movie.
Yeah.
The number
yeah.
23. It's fucking everywhere.
The 4 fingers on John Wick's left hand.
Oh.
The
call.
4 seats that were in between me and the guy eating cheesy puffs.
Yeah.
The 4 times you had to turn around and tell the guy to fuck off.
Yeah, really.
The only 4 seats left in the theater this weekend.
The 4 hours I spent in an AMC while watching this movie.
Yeah, with the Nicole Kidman and all the preamble.
I
God,
mean, the
heartbreak.
Queen. Dude, I love how they gaslit us into loving that.
I can't believe they didn't give us a new one. They
Yeah,
It's
gaslit us
on the
into
way.
a new
It's
one.
on the way.
We're
By the end of the
definitely-
year, I think they said this
It's
is
also
going to be
still,
out.
it's got the Jurassic Park like shot
Yeah.
in it. I was like, well, that's dated at this point.
All right, so
Jurassic World.
Jurassic, yeah, whatever.
go ahead, get started. Non-spoiler, spoilers. So I admittedly I did not love this when it first started, but by the end I was like, this was fucking incredible. Like I fucking loved it. Mike, what about you?
I liked it. I mean, John Wick, I think, is how action movies should be. It gives you everything what you want and how you want it. I think we're getting like a little, you're losing the forest in between the trees or whatever, like that kind of complications of things from like, first John Wick, real straightforward, doing this because of this. Now we've got like rules and caveats and hats and like
that's what I think is the best part of it.
Really,
all that stuff.
Like I get that you have to develop a series and you have to develop like as to why you're not just doing the same thing, and they think that they do like poke fun at it in ways in this movie, but I was just like for me I was just like I get it, but I don't need them like changing all that shit and then like basically like technicalities as to like plot arcs.
I have a theory on that, and we'll get into it in spoilers. What did you think of this one?
So this is my John Wick weekend.
Yeah.
I marathoned all 4 movies. I watched 1 on Friday and then the next 3 on Saturday.
Did you count how many he killed?
I did look it up online. I think it's like up into 400s. Ooh. 400 bodies.
Yeah.
So what I will say is my ranking for all 4 of the movies goes 4, 2, 3, 1.
Okay.
Ooh.
No. Yes, that's right. 4, 2, 3, 1.
Wow.
I really enjoyed this one. There's some parts that got a little slow for me, but that's my big problem with 2 is that the action sequences, it's just like, okay, how many more people are you gonna kill? Where it's like the creativeness of the sequence is no longer there. I'm over it. But those were few and far between in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd rank the bottom 3, but 2 is my favorite.
Yeah,
and
I
after
agree.
watching this one, I was like, yeah, 2 is still my favorite because before we go over to you, I think the first one was a surprise that they were not expecting the response they got from it because the movie is written and directed by Keanu Reeves' stunt double from The Matrix. Chad Stahelsk, I think his name is.
Sure.
Or Chad
Klaus.
Yes, Chad Klaus. And it is a very slow start. It's a very low budget film. They obviously got creative with what they had to work with. And I remember when it came out, I was like, damn, this movie got really good reviews, but it did not do very well at the box office. It's actually known as the last movie to get a big push or like a cult following from physical media.
Oh,
and once
yeah?
they saw, because the first time I saw it, Danny was like, hey, I watched this movie that my roommate had, and it was fucking crazy. And then we watched it at his house, and I was like, damn, this movie's fucking nuts. Like,
I was so bored by it. I didn't think I was gonna watch 2, 3, and 4.
I think
and then you get to the second half, and you're like, holy shit.
Even the second half I thought was like the style. They hadn't quite nailed down the style of it yet in the first one. It was just, to me, it was just very straightforward action movie. When you get to 2, it's like, okay, they're creating an interesting world.
Yeah, well, that's what we were saying before. Is I think 1 was the one-off, like, this is my chance to direct. Keanu's a friend of mine. He said he'd be in it.
And
Holy
nobody's
shit.
ever going to adapt this property.
Yeah, exactly. Holy shit, we have a hit on our hands accidentally. Now here, these next 3 movies are the trilogy I wanted to make.
Yeah.
Like, here's all of the Continental stuff, the Society of Assassins, the High Table, all that shit, right? Which I think all that is really well done without or backwards. The action is really well done without losing sight of the world building and the story in these movies, which I really like. That being said, I don't think they do much for his character throughout these movies, but I kind of feel like that's a backseat to what's going on.
Keanu Reeves thing.
Yeah. I heard and I read a really good like analysis of that was like the entire film and the entire 4 movies is basically like, because people were like, yeah, like his acting is bad, and they're like, everybody is like, I'm willing to die for John Wick, and then you see John Wick and he's just like, yeah, like I'm gonna kill them all, and then it's like people were talking like a lot. One guy was mentioning,
I need a gun.
Yeah. One guy was mentioning, he was like, it's just like, there's not that much time after John Wick's wife died throughout all of this. It's like, this is him grieving. Like, this is a very manifestation of grief in his, like,
that's a good point.
morose character. I was like, I like that, but I feel you're giving a lot more credit to just a bad Keanu acting job.
Yeah.
So I'll be straight up. Well, actually, Liz, what did you think before I get into my spiel on Keanu
I
Reeves?
liked it. Like how we talked about before, like they're not making comedy movies the way they used to. Sometimes it's really nice to just watch people get fucked up for 3 hours. It was really nice.
Here.
I ate some popcorn, ate some Skittles, watch people get absolutely massacred, and I enjoyed every second of it.
How about that trailer for their next movie from the people who brought you John Wick?
Yeah.
And it's basically John Wick,
Ska.
but World War II.
Yeah, it's like
I didn't see that.
You didn't see it?
We got there like we sat down and the movie started.
Yeah, it's basically like this guy who is like now a prospector out somewhere, and it must take place.
it's in Finland, I think
Finland,
they said.
and it takes place
in
during or just after World War II.
1944, I think they said.
And yeah, he just fucks up Nazis in John Wick fashion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
So-
like another Baba Yaga
Atomic
kind of like.
Atomic Blonde was like that too. Was
Atomic
another
Blonde was bad, though.
was another John. Well, I don't think the world building and the story was as good, but the stunts are just as great because it's
Yeah.
the same team. But listen, I'm pretty sure I've said it on this podcast before. I don't think Keanu Reeves is a particularly good actor. I don't think anybody thinks he's a particularly good actor. That being said, the man oozes charisma.
Yep.
Like
Sisu.
he is so fucking likable in
Yeah.
everything he does.
For sure.
That even when he's giving one word answers to things, people were dying in my theater, like cracking up his. I'm like, damn, all right, fuck.
You're right. That's his biggest sell, and like you can compare his performance here easily to him in The Matrix and other things like that, where he's playing the stoic character, or you can compare him to like Bill and Ted, or what's the movie where he's a football player.
The replacements.
And stuff. Like he can give other like range. It's just that for some reason people like to see him as just this stoic, just
Have you
one
seen
word.
Dracula 2000?
I have not.
But sir,
But also
Yeah.
that
so
was a
not
bad
good.
movie all around.
No, it wasn't.
Right?
No,
I haven't seen it. I've just seen clips
But
of
it was bad.
But he is not good.
He's
in
the
it.
worst
he's
part.
not
He's the
great.
worst part of that movie. But I mean, even just watching this movie, his performance, I was like, God, man, this guy's been doing this for what, almost 30 years now, and he never picked up how to read a fucking line. Like, Jesus
Doesn't
Christ.
need to. They hire him and they know what they need him to do.
Yeah. He's working with the director's friend.
I think
Yeah.
his best performance in a while was Toy Story 4. I think when he played that
his
fucking we'll call him Danger Ned, but I don't
Danger Ned.
I don't know
Duke
what.
Kaboom. That's what it was.
That's what I was doing. You guys don't like Danger Ned?
I like Danger Ned. What about Naughty Ned?
No, that's more like a porn parody.
Yeah.
But yeah, stunt work is great. I feel like the storytelling, I feel like this movie specifically was like the ballad of John Wick. You know what I mean? This was like, we're not just going to entertain you and drip some story here and there. This was like, we are diving as deep as we can into the pool of John Wick for this one.
But it had more than just being a vengeance story and letting you in on the past of John Wick and letting you know about the world. This one added the element of friendship and brotherhood and what it means to have these relationships in this world.
I think a really big and important thing they did in this one was like, obviously throughout all of these movies, it's like, well, John, what are you going to do when you're done?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, they hammered that in with this, and I think like a really big theme of this movie is consequence. Like, I mean, they toast to
dude,
consequence.
so many
They like
times.
everything about it is,
Consequences.
yeah.
And that's carried over from 3. 3
Right.
talks about that
Which,
a lot,
yeah.
too.
And everything with it, though, is kind of like, okay, you can get what you want at what cost. And it is showing, people aren't bulletproof. You aren't just going to get what you want. The hero's not going to come up and do everything perfect. It's going to cost you. And everything about that, like, with the knives in the hands and making all the deals, it's basically about, like, how much is your soul worth?
Well, I mean, even the second one starts with that, with the guy with the marker, right? Remember, he gave a marker to that guy, and then like, he breaks the rules at the end of that one, and that's what set them on this next two.
But they didn't really like. Yes, consequences were a theme, but in 3 they used the word consequences a million times, and then this one 2 million times.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of Bill Skarsgård?
He was good.
He's
I
great.
thought he was good.
It's a
thought it
weird
was
French accent, but
But it's fine.
it-
I mean,
like, I'm sure it was more authentic than like to actually say
That's
that. But
that's what I love about the John Wick movies specifically, is how they totally embrace the villain twirling a mustache type of vibe, and everybody you meet is this over the top, eccentric, like impossibly mobile person.
Yeah,
you know, not
larger
to get-
than life individual.
pretty much. Like everything is just way over the top. You know what I mean? Which is weird because the central character is not at
Yeah.
all. He's super
It's
straightforward.
an
You know?
interesting counterbalance.
Yeah, it's kind of like how do I describe it? Like you got the one friend who's just always quiet, yet he still rolls with the punches with everybody else who's really loud and
then
eccentric.
they
You
got
know what I
you.
mean? Yeah, there's me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with that too, it like, and it's so much of this one, especially the way it was shot, like the styling of it and everything, felt very much like a video game. In like
Yeah.
every possible aspect, like boss fights, like that top-down shot later on was just Hotline Miami.
Hotline Miami. That's what I said.
Just
To Liz.
Hotline
Fuck
Miami.
yeah.
I
Like-
want to talk about when we get into spoilers. I want to talk about that scene.
It's the
so
first
badly.
movie Liz ever turned over to me and goes, "I like the way this was shot." And
Yeah,
I was like, "What
like,
do you know?" about
Everything,
But she's here.
yeah, it all feels so much like a video game, and I actually like the fact that John doesn't have a lot of character dialogue or like personality
It's a
in that
vessel
way
for the player.
because it's a vessel for the
Yep.
player.
I've also heard numerous times throughout the years, and I agree that these movies are structured the same way video games are structured, and quite honestly, video game movies should be structured this way.
Yep.
I mean, even just with the Resident Evil 4 remake, you know, it's you have the head lieutenant, you know, the big cheese, the chieftain, you know, and
Yeah.
then later on you get Ramon Salazar. He's the first, and you remember it's the first guy, and then you get the fat guy, and then you know what I mean, and then you finally have the big main bad. You
People
know,
have come in waves.
exactly,
Like,
exactly. It's very like it's very video gamey for sure.
But just more to the way it was shot. I know it's trite to say, but every single frame was a painting. You could take any shot out of this and hang it on a wall, and it would look beautiful.
Dude, the fucking
color, the
incendiary
composition.
rounds.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that was awesome.
I think, but there was that one point. I think it was during that overhead shot, and they cut. There's a couple times they cut to
like,
regular
normal,
camera
yeah.
shot, and he was in a closet reloading, and then it cut to whoever the bad guy coming in was, and there's blue light just coming in,
Yo.
beams, like
This is-
silhouette, and then when
Yes.
they go to the dealer, and there's all like the big fan,
Yeah.
This is the most orange and teal movie
Oh, yeah.
I've seen in my life. I was watching this movie being like, I would never be a filmmaker. I could never think of this shit in my wild. And not only that, the execution. These guys in the background are in blue light, but all the shit you're focusing on
Yeah.
is in the orange. And then when the action starts, Donnie Yen is in the fucking blue light, and like the guys he's eviscerating are up in front in the orange. It's like, how did they even light this and keep them all in the where they needed to be? You know, find your light, pretty much.
Literally.
You know, like
I'm just glad it wasn't fucking dark, like visually
Yeah.
dark. Like for a movie with a lot of darkness and a lot of shadows
Yep.
and a lot of underground, surprisingly well lit. Like
what'd you guys think of the runtime?
Well, for me, that was it was long.
I bet it was
because
a little long
I
for
was
you.
at the theater until like 1:30 in the morning. But
was this supposed to be 2 movies? I thought that they were talking about
They-
John Wick 4 and 5.
They tested longer versions of this movie, and all of them tested horribly. Or
Really?
they tested no. They tested shorter versions and longer versions. So they were testing
found the
back and
sweet
forth
spot.
until they got it right where they needed to tell the story and for it to be as good as it could be. Then they also tried testing it as a 4 and 5 with what additional material they cut out, and it just wasn't working. Like it felt like this feels like an intentional cliffhanger as opposed to a nat. So they were just
every
like,
one of these movies has intentional cliffhanger
yeah,
ending.
yeah. But I feel like it's also organic, where you know
Yeah,
how
this
we
was
always
like Harry
it's,
Potter Deathly Hallows
it's
Part
almost-
1.
it's
It just happens
over-
to be in the middle.
It's
Yeah.
over a year at this point, and all we talk about with the Batman is specifically how that movie had like 4 natural organic
Where
stopping
you
points,
could've.
and they kept going. Whereas this movie specifically or all the John Wick movies have cliffhangers, but they're organic, like natural stopping points. Like, oh shit, okay, I want to see where the next one
He's
goes.
completed his task, and now it's kicking off his next
Exactly.
journey.
You know, lack of Doge in this one.
What? The Mr. Nobody.
I know his dog, but I mean the dog that set it all off. You know.
Well, he's now with Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, that's right, because he leaves. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he leave him? Because there's like no dogs at the hotel or something, right?
Yeah,
Well, the
which
hotel's also
then they
been
which they call
blown
back.
up.
Yeah, and they call back in like Japan,
Yeah.
Continental. He's like no dog, or she's like no dogs allowed.
Keep him in your room or some shit
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. That actually, I kind of want to get into spoilers at this point
I
because
was
I feel like
gonna
there's
say you're
there's-
just
Yeah.
Before we do, this is Donnie Yen steals the fucking show
Oh
in
my
this one.
god.
I honestly like. There was a point where we hadn't seen John Wick in like 15 minutes. I was like, I'm cool if we never see him again and just watch Donnie Yen steal every scene.
Really?
he was great.
Ugh.
I did like him quite a lot. Great guy. Not a good, doesn't have a crazy jawline, which is always inspiring
good to see.
It's always makes you feel happy when they
Somebody can do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Is he blind in real life?
No.
Why does he
No,
always
no,
play
no.
blind characters? He
Plays
was
them
always,
well.
He played the blind character in
Star
Rogue
Wars,
One.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, did I just not know that he was blind?
Yeah,
this
I
whole
think
time?
there's a lot of like almost poking fun at itself in this
Tropes,
movie, and I
yeah.
think that there's things like that are
Oh,
kind of
well.
like calling out
They
to it.
love to reference like the Matrix.
Yeah.
How many actors have made their way from the Matrix universe to here? And then when he first meets Lawrence Fishburne's characters, he's like, "You have a choice."
That's the first. That's the first time they had been on screen together
Yeah.
since The Matrix.
It was
So that's why
beautiful.
they played it up like that. But the other thing specifically is that Lawrence Fishburne watched the first movie, and when he looked at the credits, he was like, "These are all the guys we worked with on The Matrix."
The
And he
Keymaker was there.
Called Keanu Reeves and was like, I want to be in these movies. How do I get in? And like his response was, well, truthfully, we've already been thinking about you in meetings, so like you're in. Like,
What about Carrie Ann Moss?
Yeah,
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I thought Carrie Ann Moss was gonna play. I thought we were gonna see her as God. What was the Fuck.
The
Russian girl?
arbitrator.
Yeah.
Sure.
I am Klaus's
Yeah,
leader.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Katya or
She would have
whatever
been
her name
great.
I
is.
thought she would have been great
She would've
then
been
too.
great.
But the actress that they
she was-
had was also
She's also
great as
too
well.
old to do that role.
That's
How
why,
dare
like,
you?
No, she is. Like that role is like Keanu like grew up with that individual.
Yeah, and
Or-
Carrie Ann Moss is about the same age.
That's
Carrie
fair.
Ann Moss, I think, is 50 now, and
Keanu's
Keanu's 56.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine actually.
So
Take
shut
it
up.
back. I know. I'm so sorry.
Don't make me play a drop. No. All right. So if you were to, it's one of those things where it's like this is as good as everyone says it is. Like it really is that good. I don't think there was any scenes that were wasted. You know what I mean? I feel like everything on screen was awesome and like perfect, exactly what you needed it to be.
The only thing, like I said, is some of the action sequences do get a little bit tedious when it's just like wave after wave after wave.
Well,
And it's like, I've already seen the geography of this room. I've already seen you kill them in a bunch of creative ways. Let's move on.
That being said, I still think 2 and 3 had better creative set pieces besides for 1.
3 did.
3, dude, the fucking
not.
axe room in 3 is one of the crazy, like when he kills the basketball player with the book, or how about the end of the axe sequence where he just fucking throws the axe across the room?
There were cool moments
Like-
like that, but there was so many parts where I was just like looking away at my phone because you start out with a moment like that, and then it's just like, okay, here's a dozen underling baddies that it's like, okay, I get it.
I think one of the other big points that I took away from this movie, and like it's very, to me, very evident with it. The other theme is exhaustion.
Yeah.
Because you see like everything, and I think it does that on purpose. I think it
Maybe,
almost goes
yeah.
to exhaust you to like really then like after when he's like
He's
because
still
he's just
going.
like, oh my god, like it's like, when is it gonna end?
And then he goes all the way up the fucking stairs, and then
And
gets-
then-
yeah.
But I think like that's a point of it too, because I noticed that I was like, yeah, these are like when you thought it would be done or his leaving, it's a whole second half of that fight.
Yeah. I would give this like a 9 out of 10.
I would also give it a 9 out of 10.
Like an 8.5.
Liz?
Yeah, 8.5, 9. I'm good with that.
Okay.
All right, so 8.75.
Yeah.
7.5.
All right. Let's just jump right into spoilers, I guess. Where do
Penguin.
I start?
The penguin.
The penguin. Yes,
The
we'll start
penguin.
with the penguin. I thought that the entire time. I was like, they got this. He's supposed to be like a riff on the penguin, right? Like
Yeah,
that's
big,
the
he's
joke
got
here.
it.
big fat guy, nightclub owner. Like that's it. That's all you need.
Got a bunch of gold teeth.
Yeah.
Looks like Colin Farrell in The Batman.
I
Talked like Colin Farrell in the back. Hey yo, none of that.
I
Why
love
you
how
showing
he
me?
cuts his neck fat with a playing card. He shoots him in the ass. He throws an axe into his ass,
And he like rips
then-
that like the neck cut out
Oh
too.
yeah,
Oh.
and then they're finally the why won't you just die? And then I guess, did he kick him or he punched him or he did something
over there.
where like that, man, that was fucking brutal. But there was there was a kill like that in Scream 6 where somebody face plants onto concrete like that, and it was way more fucked up. So I was just like, I've seen a face get split a little bit better than
But
this.
I think that's the thing. It was like him falling to his death wasn't that part of that scene. When he goes and he punches him and pulls his fucking tooth out, and it's just showing that to me, I was like, he got hit like when he landed, and then I was like, oh no, he's gonna take his teeth. Like,
The fucking most brutal part for me was the knife through the hand, and he tears it.
that was rough.
I couldn't watch that. I had to look away.
Yeah, that was rough. There's not many things I wince at. Usually like swallowing something dangerous or like biting into a light bulb, are things that I would wince at, and specifically having to do with like the webbed part of your hand. And that one I was like, ugh. But I stuck with it.
So, I mean, if we don't really have a trajectory of where we want to go with the rest of this review, Mr. Nobody, I thought he was a really interesting character. It was kind of weird how they didn't tie his story up at the end. Really,
He's a nobody.
he's nobody. Yeah, that's true. But I'm wondering if it's like
he's the future
he's the future of
because
the franchise.
there is a spin-off
TV show.
the TV show, which I do have some information on here.
Don't-
there's
don't
also
go shooting us down.
a spin-off spin-off prequel movie coming out next summer called Ballerina, which stars Anna de Armas, and Keanu Reeves is making a return as John Wick.
Cool.
Okay.
And it's specifically about that
The
faction,
school?
the school in the third one.
Mhm.
Angelica Houston's
Yeah.
school.
So there is a future for this franchise.
Oh,
I just
sure.
don't think it has to do with John Wick anymore. Like,
For
'cause
sure.
it's outgrown him and his story is done. Specifically involving the Continental series, it's supposed to focus on young Winston, a young Lance Riddick. The showrunners, they came up with a bunch of pitches, a different way to approach it, but ultimately it came down to 3 90-minute episodes. That's what it's going to
That's
be.
it.
Yeah.
And
limited miniseries. or
Yep,
something like
and
that.
Shit.
but this way they can focus on storytelling and action, because you cannot tell a character-based story in this universe. It obviously just does not work, because because John Wick, although I like the character,
He's more of a catalyst.
yes,
Yeah.
I was watching. I mean, it works because it's character moving the story as opposed to story moving the character. But the thing specifically is that all the performances and all of the other characters outshine him in every single scene of this movie. All of the movies are like that. Lawrence Fishburne could just come out there saying nothing but the most outrageous shit, and he would get laughs from the
You
audience.
wanna play
It
like
wasn't.
just a random sound bite of what he might say.
It wasn't one single thing.
You don't actually have to.
Oh, that's right. I pulled out the cable because it was making too much noise. But
Just leave it. The moment's gone. Not the one I thought you were going to
Oh.
how about that one?
Yeah, he's up on top of the
So
Bowery.
Bowery King.
specifically with everything else that was going on, though, like when he would come out and do his spiel, because everybody in this movie had cool fucking dialogue. Like when specifically when Bill Skarsgård's character comes up and he says all the thing about like what did he say? The way you do anything is how you do everything.
Yeah.
He said something else where I was like, God damn, that's so badass. And then later on, Winston throws it all in his
Yep.
face again. I was like, dude, this movie's so expertly written. Like, don't tell me action movies can't be written well. This movie is fucking written amazingly.
Yeah, it's just quick setup and like a little bit later payoff.
Yeah,
Like,
the cheating scene with the card game where it's like, let me guess, pair of five or
five
five
of a kind. Yeah.
five of a kind. Yeah, he's like, I always knew you were a cheating prick. And then somebody else says, yeah, little prick. And like, it's just like they're all playing off each other. It's almost like a song. You know what I mean?
It's almost like jazz. Cosmic gumbo.
How about the Donnie Yen scene where he's putting the like doorbell all over the place. That was so much fun. I was just like sitting in the theater smiling.
Yeah,
at
like-
how much
like-
fun I was having.
Like
I
you
did
said,
like that. I thought those were bombs at first.
I
Yeah.
thought they were like trip bombs at first too, but like you said, where it's just like totally stole the whole movie for me.
Yeah.
Like everything, it's just also like so satirical and so making fun of itself, and it's also like done so in such a high way that it works. That it's like, yeah, you have a blind assassin, and you have him like walking around with a cane and just shooting like this most of the time. It is an expert assassin.
It's Yoda.
Yeah.
It's like, like, oh, you see him, like, he can barely move around, and then he's doing fucking flips.
What
and
did you
shit.
guys think of Akira, the daughter?
It was interesting.
She was good. I also kind of wonder why they left her as a dangling thread.
Did you stay
you
for the
stay for the
post-credit scene?
post-credit
I didn't know there was one.
Okay.
Do all these movies have post credits?
No, that is the only. This is the only one that had one.
I did not stick around.
Since you missed it, Donnie Yen's character goes to see his daughter, and right before he walks up to her, Akira shows up and pulls out a knife and is about to stab him,
And then
they
it
cut
just
off.
goes to
Stab
black.
him.
Stab Donnie Yen.
Because again, this is about consequences.
That's what happens, These
well,
things
she
happen.
said it. She said to John Wick, "If you don't kill him, I will."
And he
Well, he
says,
says, "Be
"I will-"
seeing you.
Yeah, he says, "I'll remember you" or
Yeah,
whatever.
he
Like,
says,
yeah.
"Be seeing you." Yeah.
I'll be
waiting for you.
Yeah. Well, I remember what he said.
Yeah.
You fucking.
I let her have her way.
Yeah, I don't know
Fucking
what the
Clancy Brown.
Dude, Mr. Krabs was awesome in this
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
He was great. Well, now, why is he missing a finger?
Clancy Brown?
all of them who basically like took the same deal that John Wick took.
In the third one, but I can't remember what the deal was.
Nick, you just watched.
So the deal that John Wick did, he went to go see what the fuck is the name? The
Grand Poobah.
The main,
Sheik or whatever,
the main dude, and it was his way of pledging his eternal servitude
To who?
to the table.
Okay, but that doesn't. But I don't understand why they wanted to kill him though.
Because they had never, like, the Continental had never taken the bounty off of his head. It was just the table was like, oh, you're gonna do this job, and you're gonna pledge that you're gonna do this job, and then when you're done with it, we'll talk.
Consequences.
Right.
Consequence.
Oh, yeah, he sent them to go kill Winston.
Right. The stairs sequence was absolutely incredible, but the craziest action sequence in the movie, like without a doubt, is the fucking what's that roadway called in France?
Oh, with the Arc de Triomphe.
That shit was crazy.
Insane.
I love
Rated
the fact.
M Frogger, like
Yeah, I love the fucking RNG of just the cars, like just somebody gets hit and then hit by that dog got hit by one of those cars, like windshield, and just rolled
John
it
Wick
off.
falls
no
out
problem.
of a 5th-story window onto a like VW
Dude, he
van,
gets
and then is
shot
like
off the top of
yeah.
a building in
and
the
then it's
third
like,
one.
oh yeah, that hurts.
Do you know what I could not stop thinking about this entire movie?
The dog?
Well, yeah, but of course. The people in the club in Berlin, and then the
Who were
people
just kept
on
dancing.
the streets of Paris that are like, oh, people are just like getting
But
murdered
that's
hit
the
by
world.
cars.
He's life, eh?
Liz, I love that about these movies, because in any other movie, you would just see a crowd of people like, run away and clear out the room so there's no casualties. This movie is like, it's just, they're used to it.
It's not about them,
It's
and it
not
doesn't
about
need
them.
to be
They're
about them
there
running.
to make the scene look cool.
Yes.
I
Keep
do-
dancing.
Yes.
I do love the scenes where Winston and who's the other one? And Bill Skarsgård, like they're all at that meeting place for the duel, and they hear all the gunshots.
Yeah.
They're just like,
And then they just hear it getting closer and closer.
yeah,
like-
exactly. And that kind of informs you that like, oh, people in this world are used to this.
Yeah, they
like
hear this
they are
shit all the
definitely
time.
exactly. It's not just it's like, oh, the high level assassins are at it again, honey. Lock the door. You know what I mean?
Did you bring the garbage cans in yet?
yeah.
I did turn to Pat at one point, and I go, you know what I love? A good assassin phone tree with your alternative 50s secretaries,
Yep.
just like boop, 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 boop,
Yeah,
boop,
all the
boop, boop.
Suicide Girls. Like I love
Yep.
that fact. I think
So
that's just a
good.
cool like.
The
Yeah.
DJ.
Yeah.
The
Was
I was
also
just
a
like,
nice
it's
touch.
just agreed upon that there is just this entire network, like that. It was just like, okay, we have rotary phones and chalkboards.
Yeah.
and loved it.
I'm there for it. It's cool shit.
Yeah, I think it's just a cool touch. It's like it reminds me of like Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like with like the actual Deadpool on the board. Like there's just fun like analog things that make it so slightly anachronistic that it pulls it into its own world. And I think that does a good job because
So-
if they're just all on computers, it's like,
Only
oh, okay.
It doesn't feel like you're taking a step out of our reality.
Yes.
Whereas this, it's like, okay, I'm escaping reality and going to this one.
Yeah, only because you brought up Deadpool. Keanu Reeves has been offered significant roles in every single Marvel film, and his whole thing is, I just got to find the right character. It's like, well, now that John Wick's over, what's next, buddy? You know what I mean? What are you jumping on the Marvel
He
train
can
or
take
not?
over as Kang.
I've changed my form. Ignore the previous. Did you guys
I'm
see
now
the
a white guy who can't act at all.
Did you guys see those Harry Potter movies where they just changed the villain? We're doing that right now.
Oh God, I want to use that drop
Going back to the Arc de Triomphe circle, when there's that first, it's like a van that smashes into them. I did notice so they get hit by this moving car that's now at a dead stop, and they get up to fight, and you see into the cab, and there's not a single person in the car, and I'm like, just put a driver in there.
They evaporated.
Yeah. And then this one is more of just the world, but it's like everybody's just like weaving in and out. Like, I got to get to work.
The CGI on the cars is very good, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of traffic for Paris at like 5 a.m.
The CGI on the cars is very good, though, because it was also reminiscent of, you guys haven't seen any of the Mission Impossible movies, right? Very much the same lane as these movies. But there is a motorcycle chase sequence in that motorcycle in that film that looks very much like what was on screen here. And the second time I watched that movie, I noticed some of the cars are CGI that they're weaving in and out, like in between. And in this movie, I was like, these are really good because I can't tell which ones are fake and which ones are real, but I know that they're all fake.
I know the ones that come real fucking close, just like, those are fake.
There was a sense of tension when I was like, oh shit, is this the one that's going to get hit?
I did feel it. Like, I usually don't go to IMAX. It was the only one that was open late enough. So this felt fucking huge.
Yeah, we saw it in IMAX too. It was definitely worth it for sure.
Can we talk about the duel?
Yeah.
No, not worth it.
No?
Yeah, it's just the climax of the plot.
Yeah, it's nothing important. They shoot each other a couple times. And
yeah, we can talk about the duel. Go ahead. You start us off on the duel, Mike.
I think this is so cool, and I think it's really like the perfect way that they wrapped everything so nicely with a bow. Because they both start and they both shoot each other in the shoulder. So it's like they're setting the ground. Then John shoots Kane through the like abdomen like hip. And he's like, it's basically him signaling him to like shoot me here next.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Because also, and I think it's a throwback for when he has to take the doctor and get fixed up by the doctor, and the doctor's like, shoot me here and shoot me here.
Yep, and those are the two.
Those are the exact spots, and he's like, that's not fatal. It'll just make it look bad.
Yeah.
So I think it's a throwback with that.
That's a good point.
And it basically is kind of like them having a conversation by shooting each other, and I just think that's so fucking cool. Like
consequences.
It's good to sit with friends, with an old friend.
Yeah.
So I'll ask the question: do you guys think he's dead?
I do think he's dead. I didn't think up until that point. I didn't think we were gonna see him die. But I think he is.
I think John Wick, the Baba Yaga is dead. I think he is alive.
Oh, kind of like a
Liz?
Batman situation.
Yes. That's exactly what I said. I was like, remember? And he's looking.
Don't know, but now that you're saying that, because remember Bill Skarsgård's whole thing, he's like, my plan is not to kill John Wick, it's to kill the idea of
it's to
John
embarrass him. Remember,
So,
because
like-
if he dies, he will end the high table and become a saint. You know.
So I'm wondering if we'll get a call back to that somewhere. I don't know.
I know I do know the actual answer because Keanu Reeves did give it. He's dead. Physically, metaphorically, he's in the ground.
When did he give this answer?
Just yesterday on a podcast that I looked up. But
I would love to see the source when
Spoiler
we're done.
alert.
yeah, it was IGN.
No, I want to like send it. I want to read that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Not question.
yeah, no. Oh, no, I get it. No, it was Keanu. He specifically said like, no, he's like, not even because like I want to move on from the franchise, but I think there's nothing left for the character to do or tell. He's at peace, and like in the beginning of the movie, in the beginning of the franchise, that's the whole thing. He's searching for peace.
Mm-hmm.
He's searching for a way to put the death of his wife to bed, to put the life that because he retired and then she died of cancer. Because remember, he retired to be with her. And I mean, like, it's one of those things where, like I said, it's like the ballad of John Wick, so to speak, where it's like this one is really like a full circle, full scope movie where it really pans out like what his story and journey has meant. So I kind of feel like if you weren't to physically kill him, you're cheapening the tale that was told. You know what I mean?
Which Hollywood loves to do.
Exactly. And the other thing is, like, I know what you're saying about the whole Batman thing, specifically with the Arkham games. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the ending at all. No. But the ending of the Arkham games is Batman fakes his death. And what he does is that he uses the idea of Batman and uses Scarecrow's fear toxin to create this sort of crazy, like, Batman, like bat-esque creature type of deal thing.
Man-bat.
But it's not a physical manifestation. It's like the way that they try to skirt the line of not killing Batman but killing Batman at the same time, and it just doesn't work. You got to go one way or the other. Yeah, a lot of people do not like the ending of the
Christopher
game.
Nolan
I was gonna say the Dark Knight was what this reminded me of, like the very end, and when
I didn't even think about
when
that.
they're in France. When they just look up at the table and kind
You'll
of come
look
back.
at me.
Yeah.
Now-
You look at me.
I take a holiday. But now that we're talking about that, you guys know that the original ending for that was he was just supposed to look up and nod and go to credits, and the studio was like, absolutely not. You cannot.
You don't see Christian Bale at all?
Yeah, because people were pissed off at
With
the ending of
Inception?
Inception.
Yeah.
So the studio said, like, put
I
their foot,
almost
like,
kinda
we
like
I
will
would have
not.
loved that.
We will not put this movie out if you don't add that in. So they did
Which
a
is
pickup
wild
shot.
because the amount of discourse that would have created would have been worth the
It's
like
almost
marketing.
Like they don't understand how people think.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, Bruce finally, he's at peace. He got the happy end. The whole. I mean, we don't got to talk about fucking Batman though. But the point is that it's the same.
Baba Yaga
It's
got
the
peace.
same. It's the same thing. But it's also the same thing with like Tony Stark's death in Endgame. Remember, you can
What?
rest, but will you be at peace? Remember. Oh, I see.
He died.
You can rest, but will you be at peace? You know what I mean? And this was that. Is remember she tells him, you're at peace. You can rest now, and the light goes away. Same thing with here is that John Wick sits on those stairs. You remember he throws off all. He pretty much it's a way of taking off the armor for the last
it's
time.
like the
you know what I mean?
baptism.
Or
like
taking off the persona.
Yeah,
which is,
exactly.
Which I like. It may not be the accurate thing, but I was like, I want to stick to how I like interpreted it. I like that.
I like my version better.
I like that the concept of John Wick is dead. Like
Yeah.
he's
And
shed
now-
that.
Where that grave is a coffin full of guns for the next time that he's
Exactly.
got to do this again.
Oh, okay, let's do it.
All right, let's write 5. The thing I love about this series is that how long do these 4 movies last in world? It's like 3 weeks,
yeah, 3
maybe.
weeks,
A
maybe.
little bit longer. I think between this one and 3, there's a
So
gap
there
of
is
time.
a gap, yeah. So
but-
like maybe a couple months tops. That's really cool, and the fact that they thought of an interesting way to set up the character where he's already fully formed and perfect, but he's still at the beginning of his journey. Like that's so interesting. You don't have to do the origin story. Everybody knows this guy. You don't fuck with him.
Yeah.
But he's still at the beginning of the story.
You stole John Wick's car and then killed his dog.
Are you talking about the
first
villain of the
one, yeah.
He doesn't even do it in that way. He's like very calm. He's like, you know what you've just done, and slaps him across the face and takes a drink. He's like,
We're dead.
He's like, get out of my sight.
He's like,
because
what's
you
coming
just
to you,
fucked up."
you deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do love the opening of the second one where he kills his way to the office
Yeah,
and
to
like
the
he drinks
uncle.
the guy's drink and like puts it down. Like I love that. I love
So good.
I love the legend, the build, the world.
That's the other
building.
cool thing about the way that one is starts. You get that real punch right in the beginning that's left over from the first story, but you like it's not like all right. Well, we have to start over. You know the engine's already going, and then we get into the story of the new one. What's the business of part two?
Who's left over from the first one? John Leguizamo.
Yeah,
he is not in a single one of those movies. Afterwards.
He does make an appearance in 2.
Does he?
I do believe. I don't think he's not in 3.
No,
but I think he is in 2.
Huh. I do. He's another one I like.
That's pretty fun.
When
he goes to get the car
whose
back.
car is this? It's I don't know. Some guys. He goes, I know this car. Where did you get this car? And then when he's like, I'm not going to work on this car. Like all that shit I really like because it sounds like, because remember, that movie starts off slow and it just kind of builds the lore about how like John Wick is just like a hitman assassin that you don't fuck with. You don't find out until later on in the movie, and especially in 2, that he's really like a one-man unstoppable force of nature. Like he is not just adept at like killing people and getting away with it. He's able to take down rooms full of people, no problem.
In the first one, the main villain, or I guess the dad, the mob boss, is like he's not the boogeyman. He's the guy you send to kill the boogeyman.
Yeah.
And everything you've heard about him, if anything, those stories are watered down.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But so in part 2, that beginning sequence is John going to get the car back. He fucks it up, and then he calls John Leguizamo, and John Leguizamo comes to pick it up. He's like, "Oh yeah, I can have it done by Christmas," and it's like the middle of the summer.
Yeah,
and that's the last time we see him.
He just drives off into the sunset, never to be seen again. Let's talk about the Hotline Miami scene because I know Liz wants to talk about that.
Incredible.
I love the incendiary round scene. I thought that was going to be kind of a gimmick, but then when you realize that it's like, it's not only is it like set dressing almost, it's undeniably some of the coolest ways you can kill people. Plus, I always let my guard down when I go see these movies. I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna be cool. There's gonna be top tier action. Then you don't. It's like an elegant dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That it's like it really kind of puts the Marvel movies in perspective. You know.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, especially something like Ant-Man where there's really no big choreographed fight scenes. Remember, that was one of our big issues. But then like you look at the Captain America movies where it's really all hand-to-hand bombs and bullets, and they're like up close and in each other's face, and they have big bombastic hand-to-hand fight scenes. Even then, when Marvel's at the top of their game with that shit, like this just smokes them, no problem. I'm like a third of the budget too. Like,
I think what's really cool is how they like are like, we can't kill these people because they have bulletproof suits or they have bulletproof armor, and they're like, what's a natural way to progress past that and make them killable, but it's also very like diegetic, and it's kind of just like, oh, you get an upgrade, hell yeah, like let's use it. Like,
well, on top of that, you also see that in John's tactics. I noticed, I think it's in the third one, he starts doing this. He realizes everybody's got those suits, so he starts shooting them in the foot, and then they duck down, and it exposes the back of their neck. It's like, that's so cool.
I will say, I did there like, have you guys ever seen Olympus Has Fallen?
No.
I was gonna say Gerard Way. The Gerard Butler movie.
Okay.
Where the White House gets taken
oh,
over.
I've seen this one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was one of those movies.
Joe Biden.
It's it's Joe Byron. No, it's Aaron Eckhart is the president in the movies.
What was the other one that was like identical to it? Who plays the president now?
Jamie Foxx. That was
Okay,
White
that's what I
House
was thinking
Down.
of.
That's a Roland Emmerich film.
And they're not connected.
They're not connected,
They
but
just-
they came out like 6 months
It's a real
apart.
ants bugs life
Yeah,
situation.
exactly. Volcano eruption. What was the
What
other?
was the
one?
other? What came out about like the Prestige? What was the other one that was like basically that?
Yeah.
Fuck, I know what you're
The
talking
Illusionist?
about. The Illusionist.
Illusionist,
That's
yeah,
right.
The one you're talking about is like Dante's
Peak
Inferno
and Volcano.
Yeah.
Yes.
Happens all the time.
But what were we talking? What were we saying?
Overhead. Bird's eye view.
Right. Liz, what are your thoughts?
Liz's corner.
We should get a sign. That was possibly the coolest
Or a
thing
graphic,
I've ever seen. I like that it was like, I don't know what it is, first person, whatever you're gonna call it, like
Top
going
down.
into
Top
it,
down.
and then it starts going over, and like
surgery.
I don't know what you
Stop it.
did. Growing up, you go to somebody's house and you start playing Sims and you're building a house. It felt like I was in a Sims game, making my characters light on fire, making the Grim Reaper show up, and the Grim Reaper is John Wick. And It was so cool. And then when they end up falling through the floor, I was like, are you kidding me? And I'm sorry, the dog just attacking people everywhere
Nuts.
is just
Nuts.
amazing.
Nuts.
And then it just, you guys can talk about this more, but it just ends with him falling out the window onto that Volkswagen van.
Whew.
Brutal.
Amazing. Perfect. Like, he runs in, we go through the whole level. You got the top down.
There's also a character moment in there that I
That's
don't feel like
important.
you're talking about.
Oh,
with the
Saving the
when he
dog.
goes to
Dog.
kill Mr. Nobody, and I was like, finally.
Yeah.
And then he sees the dog is getting fucked up, and like he
Dog's about
has
to
that
get
moment.
shot,
He's
yeah.
like, oh wait a minute, I know what this is like. Like
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's
And they
pivotal
didn't
for
have to-
Mr. Nobody.
they
Yeah.
didn't have to explain it either. It wasn't like I had a dog once that.
Yeah.
You know,
But it was
that
just,
would be
you
the
just
mistake.
knew.
The
Yeah.
studio,
They would
they
flash
were
back
like,
to the dog.
yeah,
like-
or even just throw in that like, oh, I've been in your shoes.
There
before.
was one thing that I missed because it's one of those things.
It's your small brain.
Exactly, you know, pea brain little boy. It was one of those things where like I was watching it so intently and I was like, you know, looking at the scenery and how they lit everything that I guess I just missed what was the proxy duel. How it's not John versus Bill Skarsgård, it's John on behalf of the house of whoever
Oh,
that he joined.
Yeah.
So since they're
The
allowed to do
Belarusian.
that, Donnie Yen is chosen to duel on
forced to
behalf
duel.
of Bill Skarsgård's.
There were
behalf.
Romani, right?
The Belarusians.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Belarus.
And
whatever.
how
Did they
has-
have a name? It's something Romani. So
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
House of Klaus.
the House of Klaus.
What
we
was
didn't, we
with
didn't even
him?
talk about
why,
Klaus.
why did they have a lobotomized like?
He was not lobotomized.
Are you kidding? He could say 2 words and eat
That's-
enough
It's
piercings.
Kelvin.
It's Kelvin.
It's the Kelvin.
He's Groot.
Yeah.
Dude, that
I would
was
put
so fucking funny.
I
I
would
am
put
Klaus.
I would put Klaus up there with
Nice to
Groot.
meet
You know,
you.
I am
Yep.
Klaus. I am
Groot.
Groot. And the funny part is that I think Klaus has 3 lines, all the same,
Yep.
easy paycheck, and you get all of his intent from those lines.
Mhm.
Every single the small part he played, and especially when they first introduce him, you were expecting like this big mean motherfucker, and the first time he says "I am Klaus" like that, it's like, okay, cool. And then he slaps the shit
Doesn't
out
he
of
take
John.
off his belt?
Oh
and
yeah,
whip him with the
And-
fucking
and-
studded
and-
belt.
and he says, "I am Klaus" again. I thought, okay, this is like a weird fetish thing, or like this.
And
I
then-
don't.
then we
and
go to
then
the
later
club.
on, it's just like, oh, this is all this fucking guy says.
Yeah,
like
he's lobotomized. The man can't
It's
do
a kink,
shit.
Mike. Don't kink shame
Hey,
him.
it might be.
Is there anything else that I feel like we're missing? We talked about Bill Skarsgård. We talked about Lawrence Fishburne. Oh, Ian McShane.
Great, as usual.
Yes, he was very good. Lance Riddick, man, talk about art imitating life, huh?
Yeah, that's
That was I did not see that coming, but I'm also glad they didn't pussyfoot around it and try and cut it out or anything.
Right,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
We didn't touch at all. I'm gonna butcher his name. Hiroyuki.
yeah, the
The
head of
Last
the
Samurai.
Tokyo
Yeah.
Continental.
Yeah.
Shimazu is his name. So I 100% bought that he and Keanu have been friends for years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great performances. That whole siege on the what city was that Continental in?
Osaka.
The
Osaka,
Osaka
right.
Continental. That was great.
Did you
This
call it
fucking
Tokyo?
I thought it was Tokyo.
Yeah, no,
the,
it's
the
fine.
fucking like the two fucking
The sumo wrestlers.
sumo
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, those are great. Like very video gamey. I love when he tells his. I love when there's like the benevolent leader, like they're all chilling, like taking shots of sake,
Yeah.
and he just goes, you know,
He's like, we are
relax,
expecting
we're
guests.
hanging out,
Yeah.
and then
Get
show
ready
them
to show them some hospitality.
That
and they all
was-
go in and get a bunch of swords and
Oh,
bows
that
and
was
shit.
so cool when the kitchen just like opens up and it's just a wall of swords. I was like,
I was like, yeah, I forgot it's a John Wick movie.
Uh-huh.
Everybody's an assassin.
They changed the lights to that green. We've shut down the hotel, and there's archers all lining the balcony. So good.
I love how the Kevlar suits, right? Since the arrows can't penetrate their skin through it, it's pinning them to the
Yep.
wall and stuff. Or like that one guy who tried to
Oh,
get
with
up
his
and he
leg
gets-
that was like up. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, that was so cool.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool like slow deaths in this,
Mm-hmm.
or like in slow as in not just like running up and shooting somebody. Like that was awesome. I loved all of the like tumbles, like the jujitsu
Lot of
tumbles he
tumbles.
did.
Yeah.
Like
I do love that there was. I don't want to say there was no build up because the whole build up is to the duel at the end, but every other action scene it was just like let's just get it, you know what I mean? Let's just go for it. Like and this specifically with the Osaka scene, the Osaka Continental scene was like it didn't waste time when John and Akira were on the roof. You know what I mean? In specifically when it's like they know you're here. Like it's like, well, let's try and hide him or try and get out. It was immediately her helper just got half of his head blown off, and then John just did what John does best.
So
and
she's like, "You have a gun?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't all heavy-handed. She was like, "You're not supposed to be here." He's like, "Yeah, I know." And then
Yeah,
they
he
like
feels
then they
regretful.
start fighting. It wasn't like a whole
Consequences.
consequences.
And it gave her character a purpose because,
Yeah.
like, she's supposed to have dinner with her father at 8 p.m. tomorrow because he's working too hard. And John Wick, you are fucking it up.
You're ruining my life, and you're putting us all in jeopardy.
Yeah.
So there's also that showdown between Kane and Shimazu in the lobby, which is great because they're talking about like you've forgotten what it is to be a friend, and then
You forgot about brotherhood, I think you said.
brotherhood. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
and then
forgot
you
about
get the
brotherhood.
whole redemption arc of Kane.
Yeah,
essentially.
that catapults Kane, and then there's the scene with again Kane. Obviously I love Kane at the bottom of the stairs. He's like, "What time is sunrise?"
Yeah.
About 2 to 3 minutes. I need you to get up those stairs, and like that to me, like again, I was beaming ear to ear, like fuck yeah.
I know.
I love when they're walking to he stabs him through his hand one last time. He goes, he goes, "You owe me." He goes, "We're even," you know? But yeah, a lot of great character moments, specifically when the Spanish lieutenant gets fucked up by the dog. You know, he says, "You can't shoot me. I can hit you, motherfucker."
Yeah.
He stabs him
He's
in
like,
the leg.
You're right, and he puts his sword away.
Yeah.
We talk
I think
about
that was the highest anticipation of the movie. I just wanted that right-hand man guy. I want him to die
Yeah.
so bad.
But it was also like the joke of him and the dog. You know, the dog was always
just
fucking
beating
him
his
up.
ass.
on his nuts.
Yeah.
and he's like, "You hit my puppy," and I'm like, "That's right, he hit you."
hell yeah. Did we talk about how John falls for 4 minutes
Yeah.
down the
Down the
stairs?
stairs.
Oh yeah, that was wild. I thought it was kind of funny how it looked. I mean, like it
Just from like 4 different like.
it
Can
was.
you tell that this movie was directed by a stunt coordinator?
It was also really funny how like every like when he looked like it was gonna flatten out, it
Yeah.
looked like
yeah. Like he hits another bounce. And like, it's like damn.
you know, like
What's that? The fucking like meme. The kid.
Ooh, or whatever. Yeah.
Minecraft, the
Yeah,
Minecraft,
the
meme.
Minecraft hit.
Oof. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think is there anything else? I feel like it's such a big animal to try and sift through, but really, I mean, like some of these action sequences, one of them I timed went on for like 19 to like 21 minutes or something around there. Like
long.
there. Well, that's the thing. I think this movie is
That is the movie.
I feel like this movie is the length that it needed to be. You know, like if I see a movie that has a big headlining title, like if a Batman movie came out and it's 90 minutes long, I'm like,
Something wrong.
it's just something ain't looking
Almost
right.
like Ant-Man.
It's like Ant-Man.
Something ain't right.
How about John? Are you dead? He's just like
Yeah. It's like
frozen.
If it's what's it called? However, when I saw this was almost 3 hours, it's 2 hours and 49 minutes,
Oh God.
which is the same length as the Batman.
flew by.
Absolutely flew
Flew.
by. I did not feel the runtime at all.
We're just getting conditioned for 3-hour movies.
Yeah.
well,
Which
that's
is
the thing,
fine.
but
That's
yeah,
fine.
It's one of those things where I'm just like, it's if John Wick 4 was coming out and I saw it had a 90-minute runtime, I'd be like, we're in trouble.
But
Yeah.
like, here's the thing.
But if it came out and it was 2 hours and 50 minutes, I was like, okay, that means they have confidence in this thing because they're like, let's not just cut it down to whatever we need it to.
2 hours is fine too. Like,
Yeah. Oh, that's.
I mean, 90 minutes, honestly,
Depends.
is like a good TV show. Like, if
Yeah.
you gave me a Last of Us episode, you just talked about this mini series that's going to be 90 minutes. Like, I can sit down and watch
Hell
a TV
yeah.
show for 90 minutes a week. Like, that's fine with me.
But it's
I
also.
didn't feel terrible sitting in the movie theater for 3 hours. I definitely checked the time a few times, but I think that's just because, I mean,
I feel like
But
crap
it's
today.
also-
but that's 'cause I went to see
Yeah.
11.
I mean,
You
we
watched
watched
400
7.
plus people die yesterday.
Yeah.
But it's. But it's also one of those things where it's like, I think the perfect runtime for a movie is whatever the runtime is, and if it's a good movie. If it's 2 hours and 49
Wow,
minutes,
you know what? You
and
just
it's
said
of,
something really profound.
and if it's, but if it's
If
2
it's
hours,
good, it's exactly how it needs to
yeah,
be.
if it's 2 hours and 49 minutes and it's fucking good the whole way through, that's the perfect runtime
You're
for
just-
the movie.
you're just
what I'm
saying you don't
is
have a problem
There
if it's
is no
long.
perfect runtime.
You just don't have a
just-
problem if it's long, if it's good.
yeah,
Is what you're saying.
Well, that's the thing is my old adage used to be, you could have short and dumb, and you could have long and good. You can't have long and dumb. It's just not gonna happen.
right.
What?
You know?
What about the Justice League movie?
What about it? Are you
Long-
really about
long
to
and
go to
dumb?
bat for the fucking Justice League
No,
movie?
he's
I'm
calling it
saying-
long and dumb.
I'm saying a long movie can be dumb.
Yeah. How did that? How do we feel about that movie?
It was long and dumb.
There you go.
I liked it. Avatar 2.
Clip of the week.
Okay.
Come on.
Liz, the
I
song.
will, hold on. The one last thing I wanted to say was, I was a bougie boy. Went to the theaters, stopped a quick check before I went to the movie, and I was gonna get. I know I'm.
Did you bring an outside snack into a theater, Nick?
Did you also just put yourself in like
I
fast
put
forward?
myself
you were like,
on blast.
You were like,
Me or Mike?
you.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did
Well, I
very
did that.
fast.
I did that.
All
on
right, talk
purpose.
about your illegal activity.
So usually I get Raisinets, and I know everybody hates Raisinets.
No.
I
Okay.
was actually holding something back, but keep going.
All right, so this time I went to stop the quick check, and I saw Milano cookies. So I got a whole bag of Milanos and got one of those
Ooh.
single servings of milk. Slid that right in my breast pocket.
Oh, yeah, this is so much worse than I thought.
Oh, dude, it was fucking great.
I support the like burnt out Nick after 9 hours of
Yeah.
John Wick being like, you know, I want
some milk and cookies.
I would love-
Pepperidge Farm will help me.
I would love if the guy next to you just turned and looked and you're
Get
like,
one of those.
you want?
milk's gone bad. Clip of the week.
Oh yeah, it's the clip of the week. Oh, it's the clip of the week. It's the clip of the week.
God, that is
It
deafening.
was deafeningly loud.
I'm fine. My eardrums
Yeah,
are
you-
crusted over.
Dude, you definitely are gonna have tinnitus.
My hearing range is
I'm
this.
gonna be the best old guy.
Dude.
What? What did you say?
So classic clip of the week setup: man in an elevator.
It's always a good start.
Check it off.
Let's go.
It also looks like he's in a tracksuit, which
yeah,
even
that's
better.
always
Very
a good start.
John Wick.
He's a runner. He's a track.
Lots
star.
of
This is deleted scene from
Lots of
John
guys
Wick.
in tracksuits in John Wick for
So
sure.
he's offloading slats of
Something.
marble.
Uh-oh.
Oh no! No, 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 Nick, no. Oh,
My guy
okay,
moved.
no. Oh, there's the
No.
tension. Get out of the.
Oh! That I was not
that
expecting.
was not it.
Yeah.
Do we remember in John Wick when the guy got hit with the car up against the bus? That's
Yeah.
what I
Which
thought
time?
was happening.
The first time, the second that elevator door closed, and I see that little
The
rope,
rope?
I was
So
like,
I wanna
Nick,
know-
am I gonna
oh.
watch a
Why
guy
would
get
he
split
stand in front of it?
twain?
Cleft in twain.
My question, but like it's got to be some sort of piece of plastic or something at the end here that keeps it in place, right? Because
I
those,
feel like
It's-
plastic
I
would have
think-
come out, right?
but rope would
It's
have just
probably
slipped
like
right
something
out.
that tethered that so you can like.
Wait, yeah, get
Pull
to
it.
the end because I think it shows where it's attached to.
Oh, dude, this is such a. You think you can stop nature, folks? You can't. Nature.
It does. You do see
Ooh.
the
It's
rope.
attached.
Yeah, there's a rope on the pulley.
Yeah,
or on
yeah,
the
yeah.
pallet.
But what I'm saying is in between the doors, like see how like
Yeah, I don't know
that's-
what's back
that's
there.
that's the end of the rope. So I'm surprised that it was tight enough to
Yeah.
hold it in place. You know.
Go frame
Well,
by frame as
all
it's
it-
like
all-
crushing him to death.
okay.
All it did, Pat, was pull the pulley out from underneath him and then just go along with that.
Yeah, and then that pulled the doors.
I want to know how unstable this elevator.
Wait,
door
look, he
is.
thinks his ass can stop that with his hands.
Yeah, hydraulic lift.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like the mother lifting the car off the baby. Okay. All
I
right.
will say though, I think him grabbing it did stop that from all crushing him because he's like lifting it.
How about if
out
he just
from
got out of the
No,
way?
it would have. The elevator was raising.
I
this.
don't know.
It would have
There's
just.
something at stake here.
Oh boy, that's not a good look. Oh, he's officially airborne.
He's getting eaten by the elevator.
And that bar is ramming into the backs of his legs.
Is he walking again, guys?
best-
Oh, so
the
it
best
breaks
relief
here.
he
It
got
does
was
break.
when that door opened. No,
that's
no,
his-
it doesn't. Watch.
No, that's his soul leaving his body.
Look, it's still there.
But that's the thing is that see the
The rope
the
you're talking
rope
about.
on the cart.
Yeah.
it breaks. That's why he falls.
Oh, it releases.
Yeah. And then he goes down a fucking
All right,
hole.
yeah, let's speculate wildly. How far did this man fall?
I'm gonna say as far as John Wick fell in John Wick 3.
Will he walk?
Or was that
Will he
2?
walk
He's
again?
dead.
Will it blend?
Will it blend? He blended.
So there's your clip of the week, people.
That was a good one.
That
I like that. I was not
Oh,
expecting.
boy. Oh, boy.
I thought I was just gonna get a slam up against the door, and then
Same.
like he goes up for a bit. I was not expecting for the bottom of the door to open like a fucking doggy door.
Looks
and
like a
have this
fucking
guy-
like mimic chest eating somebody. Like,
A lot
Oh,
of emotions.
speaking
in this
of
clip the
mimic
week.
chess,
What do you think
you know
about
what?
This mimic chest.
what do you think about
While
me?
you guys are here, I'll just bring
Does
this up.
have to be part of the show?
Yes, it does.
Alright.
Yes, it
Alright.
does.
Let me know when to switch back.
Oh yeah, Dungeons and Dragons is the Chris Pineiest movie that Chris Pine has Chris Pine. is what they said.
Infectiously good-spirited comedy with a solid emotional core. I am fucking ready for
I just
this.
don't care.
I
think
am
it's gonna be
ready
fun.
for
I'm
this.
Sure. That's the thing is I keep seeing positive reviews. Critics that I like reviewing it positively. So I'm sure I'll have a good time. But as far as the marketing, it just looks
Oh,
so
it's marketed
generic.
like ass.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It looks bland.
I still love the tweets. Chris Pine is edging the bard. He's doing what?
He's
to the
doing
bard?
what?
All right. Well, with that said, yeah, we'll see you next week for Dungeons and Dragons. Liz, go ahead and play us out. Bye. Bye.
What does that mean? Play
Bye.
us out.
Play us out.